Welcome back, everybody, to the Indian Trackmania Cup. Number 8, we return today for the finals, of course, after a bit of nonsense yesterday went on, Lumids. There was a few upsets there. I love it. I love to get a little bit of an interesting result coming in here, but I feel like yesterday was quite upset by a couple of lagging moments during the qualifiers, and that's kind of feeding through even to this point now.
Yeah, a couple of upsets came through with a couple of DCs in the seeding and in the lower bracket finals as well. There was a couple disconnects that were happening, but upsets do happen in this type of competition. It is consistency at the end of the day, and sometimes consistent internet can take a part into that one. But Again, the ones that are in the quarterfinal one, Curiosity, Spark, Scorpid, and Divya, I don't think they've lost a single round. They've always been in the top 2 here, Gex, and they're looking very, very hard to beat going into this final day.
They are indeed. I think we've got Divyansh coming up in our first match of the day as well, so stick around if you want to see that. I think we've had some really big entries from Curiosity as well, but everybody's eye is going to be on Spark. I mean, he's the name behind the tournament. He's the name that's won the tournament multiple times now, and he is the current championship holder, so you've got to have your eyes on the prize if you want to come through at the end of this, and that your eyes should definitely be on Spark if that's the case.
Yeah, Spark is still proved they're the top dog to beat here, especially in that seeding round, gapping the entire field by nearly 200 points at the end of the seeding round, which is hard to do in a very tight competition like the RTC 8. And my opinion, there is going to be a couple names to watch out for in the lower quarterfinals, I would say. It's not really the lower quarterfinal when you're this far into the tournament, but Ojas, again, he really improved and impressed me yesterday, and DB is another good name to shout out here, Gex. Coming up in these ranks, stepping into the day 2, could upset a couple big names again here. There might be a couple more upsets here.
I actually really liked DB's performances, particularly over last year as well. DB coming up. Again, I was told before the tournament began that India as a region has been really pushing hard. APAC has been coming a long way, and India very, very much at the kind of a core of that right now as far as just this learning and progressing goes. And I feel like that has come out. In the last year, the difference between some of these players is night and day. And Divyansh is one of them for sure. He was notable last year, but I don't think we would ever have been talking about him as kind of a contender in this top end, and we really are now. I still think there might be consistency issues there, but the top times he's setting, and I do mean that in tournament, not his literal top time, they are competitive with the best players here, and if he can get the consistency for those, then he's in for a real shot for the entire championship.
Yeah, 100%. And also the consistency that we've seen, I think Nami was having a bit of a struggle yesterday with the consistency. I've been going down into a loser bracket early and having to fight their way back out, which was not really what you want to see, especially when you're a top 5 player. But we've seen them before. They've clapped back after coming down pretty early on into maps, and those later maps, they've really kicked it up a gear and have gained some big points and some wins that have really gated their 10-point lead into the second place, and they've made it through to where they are today. But another name I potentially have to shout out is Curiosity. They've been doing a couple PBs lately in the record times as well. But there's a lot of things coming in today, but a lot more. I was expecting a lot more personal best going into today.
Yeah.
But looking at the
we
record,
might see out of the map creators as well. And I think we're going to see those kind of picks coming out here now. We've got the pick ban phase started. Scorpid starting off with Whitehorn. We have Flojo as second, Voltrix as third, and Aerials for picked randomly by the game itself. So that's going to be an interesting one here. That was Scorpid, Divyansh, and Curiosity's picks there. So Spark doesn't get a pick.
I was a bit worried there. I thought Ariel was the crowd's favourite here going into day 1 at least, but Ariel not getting a vote but then getting randomly put in is probably, in my opinion, the best option. I feel like that map was Spark's go-to. So Spark getting Ariel in as a random option, it couldn't have been a better choice there.
Yeah, I think it's probably the hardest for consistency, and I think that's largely why it can be a favorite. Oftentimes, the favorite maps are not the ones that you can do consistently. They're the most fun ones, and that does mean that there's risk involved there. There's Spark's pick now. Revelations will be that one this time around. And are we in the? Was that the pick and ban phase done now? Are we resetting just to get the right ones here? Spark out first.
Reset.
Whitehorn, Flojo. Yeah, this is the reset. So it will be map number 5 for Aerials will be the random pick, but Revelations was actually the number 1 pick there from Spark.
Revelations. I thought that's a big choice. I thought Relevation, there was a lot of moments that Spark didn't really look the best on that track. So Spark picking Revelations over Aerials again, in my opinion, a good choice for a random map pick from the game to pick Aerials, but Revelations for Spark is a very, very big choice here. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it is Iridium with the world record on Revelations, and Iridium, in my opinion, is Spark's main competitor here.
I mean, if you're looking at, obviously top 2 go through here, and bottom 2 will be dropping down. But if you're looking at the likelihoods for that happening here, I think for those newer names that are coming up into the top end of things, you are looking at Curiosity, you are looking at Divyansh. What are the chances like here for them coming through this? Obviously, they've got their preferential map picks, but with the consistency maybe being slightly more in question for particularly Divyansh there, what's going to be the big thing for bringing them through?
It's just, you gotta hope on. You hate to say it, but you gotta hope on the other players down for a little bit. Some mistakes can really cost you on these maps, and Divi, we have seen yesterday that Divi can perform under the heaps of pressure off some of the top players. So I'm expecting this to be a lot closer than some people will be expecting. If Spark stays consistent how they were through day one, I can see Spark running away with it in this group compared to the other 3, though. That's just my honest opinion.
I would agree. I think Scorpid definitely has a risk of dropping from this as well, particularly with the consistency issues from yesterday were a big topic for Scorpid. That was largely to do with the net issues, though. I think really got into his head at the beginning there. Multiple stoppages during the qualifier round alone for Scorpid to get back into that. And I think he did make the top 12 at least for placements that, well, obviously he qualified, but he made that up fairly quickly, and it would have been confidence building to some degree. So I'm hoping that he comes back in here today with a bit of a different attitude and mindset, and obviously less problems for himself to deal with.
And also, Scorpid coming into this map here, Flojo, has improved on their PV since yesterday. They've increased it by over a 10th, less than 2 hours ago, Gex. So Scorpid might be coming in here very hot from a couple hours of gaming on Trackmania early before the tournament, Gex.
We had that last year as well. I believe last year, actually, we had a world record set only 3 minutes before the start of tournament or something ridiculous. So I don't think we've got anything like that this time around, but I will be having to run through those sheets myself and check those leaderboards again as we go here. But particularly when we're now into that pick ban phase, it's going to matter more where your top times sit, because you have to have that preference. That's where the tactics start to come into this.
And that's where the other players could also study the tape from yesterday, study the VOD from yesterday to see where players were having their weaknesses, on which maps they were having weaknesses, and picking those maps to try to target them, to get them out of this early round. Because if you can knock out one of your main competitors in this upper bracket quarters, you're gonna be pretty cheering that your main competitor's not in the tournament anymore. Like, you've only got 2 rounds to go after this. So big performance here could really lead you on into the top seed for the grand final, especially in this top bracket.
Yeah. Well, we are starting it off here, going into the warm-up for our first round, and it is worth mentioning as well, we are heading into the finals bracket here. That means that the prize pool becomes relevant, and it is a record-breaking prize pool for this tournament coming out this time. I believe it's 25,000 rupee prize pool contributed by that community, so really huge there. Down to 8th will be getting prize pool paid out here, but you're looking for that first first, second, third, fourth spot. If you can make it into that final bracket here, into the grand final, you will be guaranteed at least 2,500 rupees there. So if you're watching from outside the region, that is roughly $30. First place would net you 8,000 Indian rupees, which is roughly 93 US dollars there. So some decent money on the line here for these Indian players coming out year after year, and it is improving. I feel like that increase in prize pool is representative of the increased interest here and the increased effort being put into this.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players as well that signed up this year, which is also good to see. So the scene is still growing, which is amazing to see in the Indian Trackmania community. But we are onto the first round here off Flojo, which is a very, very difficult track going into this first grass downhill where you got to hook it left as you can to get a good landing onto that plastic, which goes into a sausage curb right. Don't want to go too wide because that can capitalize you into this left-hand corner. Scorpion's looking very up here with Spark, and I'm pretty sure it's Curiosity in second place here as well, Gex.
Yeah, this is a good start here. Divyansh having some of those expected consistency issues here. We know that Divyansh can set a good pace on this track and keep up, but these early moments, particularly now, the pressure will be on for Divyansh to keep up, and failing that in round one will mean that Spark is just continuing to push the lead further here, slowly, bit by bit. Curiosity trying to keep up here. Last corner, really different lines taken. Spark comes out with a little more, though, and Curiosity, that line nearly paid off for him. I thought we might have seen something come out there that was a little bit interesting, but Spark, it's the expected. No fun. Boo.
I was mistaken on the map as well. We are on Relevations. I've got Spark's pick coming in as number one seed. First map would be Relevations, but that was a beautiful one. Spark proving why they picked this map. But we see a different line at the start there from Curiosity. He decided to go outside of instead of going inside of the checkpoint, taking the little triangle section. But this section here, this sausage curve, can really gain 1 or 2 temps, and then this plastic is very dangerous. You don't want to go too wide up on the dirt. Well, and you see someone's had a bit of an air, but they're all side by side. This is about as close of a run you can get going into this bobsleigh.
Like you said, that plastic's so important there because you're going to cut speed through the rest of the track there in the dirt and everything. Curiosity set the best line through there, made it from last up to second for a moment, being fought back here again is Divyansh now, though, back in that second spot. Spark still making that similar margin to last time, out ahead here. Will they pick different lines? Slight inside line from Divyansh. It's a competition, but Spark holds it again. Curiosity in third, and Scorpid will come in fourth.
Great round again, 55.4. We're still consistently in the top 10 times world record. And yeah, Divi's showing some pace early out. His Scorpion had a big moment going after that NASCAR turn, going up that left-hand corner. Hey, he ended up clipping the wall, which lost him a lot of time. As we've seen a little bit of a mistake there from Spark. That's going to lose him a little bit of a time going into this downhill. But I'm really impressed with Divi here, Gex. Showing some pace against some of the biggest names in the community. And look at that run. That line he just did up the inside was absolutely ridiculous. I haven't seen anyone take that one.
No, he took an outside line at the beginning there to actually give him the viability for that line, going around the checkpoint at the beginning. I've barely seen anybody take that line. In fact, I don't think I've seen that line taken since the qualifier, and it did give him the advantage through that section. Had the power to push a very different line and got out ahead there for a moment. It is Spark again here, but Divyansh showing the consistency we were really asking for from him, at least in this first map, and it's not even his own pick. Oh, so close to it as well. 0.03 off Spark there.
Spark 3 from 3 so far, Gex. That is tough to beat. 30 points early, while the other 3 are all fighting for second place at the moment. It's a 15-point lead already in 3 rounds. That's not what you want to see when you got Spark in the same round as you, but that's 3 rounds on the map completed. 3 wins. I think this is the last one here on Spark's map, so hopefully they can go for the 4-far, but Divi seems to be throwing a spanner in the works here in this bracket. I thought they would be the complete underdog, but they're the one that are showing against the ones. That's a big mistake, though.
And he doubles down on it as well. A small touch there. It's going to be a low transition onto the plastic, and that will be the end of this particular run for him. That is rough. But like you said, he's already put himself up there in second a couple of times, pushing himself into second place here. So even if he is to lose a round here, still in a good position on the pack. But it is all Spark right now. And Spark is out ahead. Scorpid, the only one really contesting it this time around. It is a strong contest. I feel like Spark has been gained on every single round so far. I don't know whether that's because Spark is realizing he's in first. He can afford to safe a line just that little bit more each time until he starts to see that it's too close. He's pushed it out again here, though, that 0.246. However, that is to Scorpid this time around. The only person who's been able to reel him into less than 0.1 there has been Divyansh, who threatened to take a first there in that second last round for the track. But we do change now, and we are off Spark's preference, moving on to Whitehorn.
Whitehorn is a very difficult track, and I feel like this is one of Spark's weaknesses. It may seem a bit weird to say this is one of Spark's weaknesses, but Spark is usually in the top 2 of the world record times. This is their third place one.
It is also worth noting that if you have tried these maps, no, you aren't imagining things. This is an impossible time set for the medals here. There are so few people even with a gold here, and the person responsible for that is in the map right now. You can blame Scorpid, and I advise you to do that strongly.
And sadly, Scorpid ain't in the map right now. They've having, I think, a bit of tech issues again, sadly, Gex. They've only got 20 seconds left in the warm-up. Hopefully they can get back in. I don't know if there's going to be a pause or not since we're this late into the tournament. But it's very unfortunate. They were having a bit of net issues. I was watching on board with Scorpid in a couple of the first rounds on that map, and they were glitching a little bit. It was freezing. But this map here, Whitehorn, has 2 major sections that I like to watch. Is that left-hand corner going into the uphill grass, and that dirt corner just to pick up enough speed to be able to make it over the engine off at the end are very critical points here on Whitehorn.
Absolutely. Well, it is a match pause here. We will be waiting on Scorpid again. Oh, we did see even last year some issues, and I think Scorpid even then had some internet issues then as well. So clearly a regional issue there for the internet, unfortunately for him, and still battling with that this year. But he was able to battle through it last time to get some really good impact on the tournament as well. And I do expect him to get back in here. I think really it's whether that creates inconsistency in him, because it will affect the mental coming in. You've got that little bit of a panic that you need to get back in there quick. You know, you're on stream. It's a tournament that's running live. You got to get back in there. He is in now again as well, but hopefully he's been able to just breathe through that, keep the calm, and come back in with the same attitude that got him a second place in that last round. But nobody able to take anything from Spark at this point, and against this group, I know you said it's the pack that you would expect Spark to come over the top of all of the rounds running right now, and I would agree. But it's still, we're in the playoffs now. That these are players that should be able to, hold a candle to Spark, and it just doesn't seem like it's possible. Spark is just pushing so far out ahead.
Yeah, Spark is just showing insane consistency, consistent top 5, top 10 world times. Like, it was absolute nothing. Like, they're going on a Sunday evening drive, just going by the waterfront. But
while safing lines, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
By safing, that's the thing. You can see them losing time at the end of that first map because they were safing it a lot. But when they needed to push a little bit more in that last corner, they were always pulling out that extra tenth they needed just to make sure they were winning. But like we were saying about that DC, I hope Scorpid just doesn't lose the flow. Because if you can really get into a flow state in this game, and you can have everything going your way, but you can also get into that moment where your mental takes over, like you said, and you can just keep making mistake after mistake after mistake, and it can really cost you mentally, and it can really stuff you up in the run.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going back to F1 terminology and stuff, it is a long race here. You've got to have your strategies right and everything. There's been a bit of a tire change coming into today, and you've got to heat them up quickly. And that first round has got the softs all warmed up for Spark in particular. Divyansh there in second, now equaled by Curiosity as well. But Scorpid now, this time off track, out of game even possibly. you would expect that this has taken some heat back out of the tires. He's going to have to warm them back up.
Yeah, that's the thing. You lose your flow state, but as you see, they've got a little bit of time still at the moment to get back into that groove before we get back into the matches. But I was expecting Scorpion to be a little bit further, like more points than where they're on at the moment. 16 points compared to the 18 from Divi and Curiosity is. I was expecting Scorpion maybe to be on 22 to 26 going into map 2. But Curiosity and Divi are proving their worth here, Gex. They're really showing up when needed.
Yeah. And it's kind of been my shifting perspective throughout this tournament so far. I was expecting the possibility here that Scorpid would slip back amongst this pack. Certainly was always going to have issues with Spark, but Divyansh and Curiosity this year coming up in ITC number 8 has huge names right now. Curiosity was able to push back even 42 earlier in the tournament, I believe it was, and create some consistency issues in a top player there. Divyansh was able to get some upset rounds out of ones we didn't spectate, so I guess that's where more the question still lied for us, because we didn't get to see that in action. But now that we're seeing it, I have no doubt in my mind that these are just two players who are in that improving pack that we were talking about.
We also have Curiosity's placed 9th and 10th last time here in this tournament at ITC last year, and you have Divi who didn't play in last year. So Divi's trying to knock out Curiosity from getting a PB result.
Whoa.
And Scorpion is trying to make it back into that top 6.
Oh, Curiosity.
But this is looking very close. Curiosity and Spark again is still at the front here, Gex. Spark is showing.
Oh, that's a huge
mistake.
line. Curiosity, no! They both have. They've both sent it, which means Divyansh out in front as long as he doesn't go high for a tap. Their Scorpion does anyway. Divyansh is home free.
Big mistakes everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
The break may have caused a bit of issues there in the blood. Spark had a massive one, and Curiosity's clipped the inside, has gone in the air. Big 10 points there from Divi to slowly make their way away from 3rd and 4th here. 22, 22, 28. But Spark still holding strong even with that little upset. It's still plenty of points ahead.
I mean, Scorpion was only 2 points behind the main pack here. Spark is out ahead. He's about to lap these guys. In fact, he has almost lapped now. One more point and he would have caught up to Curiosity and Scorpion there and doubling the points. But there's still quite a fight for that second position here for sure. I mean, there's enough time left and tracks left in this that there is still that competition against Spark. I just don't expect the errors out of Spark to really let that happen, if I'm honest here. But coming through into that second spot, certainly it is looking like it's just slowly Divyansh pushing that gap, but this time around, bit of an early error and he's gone to the back. A tight top 3 of the pack, though. Spark, Curiosity, and Scorpion lead it out in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah, that's a beautiful run again from Spark. Just showing a bit of mistakes, not going to really affect them here. Another 10 points. That's, I think, 5 now in 6 rounds that they've won, proving their worth. But I think we still go up to 100 points to get on finalists. Am I rude to say Scorpion with a big mistake? That's a couple temps already. That's probably 4 temps right there. 6 temps. That's major mistake from Scorpion. But like I was saying, Gex, am I one to say I can sense a triple finalist happening here for 2nd place?
For second, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's out of the question at all here, but it does have to be a bit of a pickup from Scorpion, I think, and it is down to errors like Spark, of all people, has just made here for Scorpion that seem to be coming out of just that kind of flustered state, knowing that there's issues in the background. It can always just be part of your subconscious thoughts and everything, just distract you from your race a little bit, but Divyan's taking a very different line here from Curiosity. Had to slam the brakes on, loses the speed. Curiosity will be out ahead here, but Divyan's a comfortable 2nd there. And I think with the gap to Curiosity, we'll be happy with making that 2nd place there.
That's a very good 2nd place again for Curiosity. I mean, yeah, it's a very solid place. Points are needed here for anyone to get ahead from the bottom 2 at least. Spark's done what they've needed to do early, winning those 4 rounds back-to-back just to get a bit of a lead, just to have a bit of breathing room, I would say, going into these later maps where they're probably not the best. But Divi has been very impressive, and they're leading at the moment going into this left-hand corner, which I said it potentially is one of the most important ones. If you go a bit wide, there is a high chance you can clip your back wheel on one of those concrete barriers. But Divi and Spark are about as close as you can get going into this left eel, in and into the reactor corner. They both want to take an opposite line here, but Divi stays with Spark. He's been going a bit wide usually.
Whose map choice was this? This had to be Diviansh. I would hope it's Diviansh with the way he's racing it right now. Consistently has been contesting Spark, but I mean, that's 2 maps back-to-back, and the last one was Spark's choice, so I don't know. It's another great finish from Diviansh. Curiosity goes to the back, and Diviansh will head forward again here. Oh, actually, Scorpid with issues once more will make a big error there and has headed to the back as well. So Diviansh will still go to the front of Curiosity here, but only by that 1 point again. And that's so relevant because we're looking at finalist position. And if you're only 1 point apart from each other, you can almost guarantee you will be finalists at the same time. And you won't get that 1 round advantage where you can kind of secure your position without ever having the risk of somebody catching you. That's not going to be an option for players here at this rate.
You really need that 10-point buffer between you and the next person below you if you are trying to get that second finalist. So they need to get at least 2 wins back-to-back to be able to get into the way. But Scorpid didn't get any points, GX, from that last round on that last map. They didn't make it to the finish line. So they missed out on 3 massive points. And now they're behind Divi and Curiosity by over 10. That 10-point buffer has been opened.
Yeah, it's just so brutal to watch because you know who Scorpid is as a player. You watched him last year; he's come through. You know he can have consistency. These errors are coming out due to outside circumstances right now, largely, I think. And Scorpid will be kicking himself if that no point round there is to cost him a finalist position there. We were talking about there being a fairly decent likelihood of 3 finalists at the same time there out of that bottom 3. And it's starting to look unlikely if these issues continue here, and I don't think they're sortable, judging by the fact that Scorpid's already left and come back.
Yeah, and hopefully there's not any more issues throughout the rest of this tournament for Scorpid, especially in this match, because I don't think the admins will really want to pause much of it because they do want to keep up until this time. But we are here on Flojo, which, in my opinion, one of the hardest in the map pack, easily top 3 hardest. But this NASCAR turn, it's not really a NASCAR turn, it's an under-bridge drift, but it always catches me off guard because you can go a bit right there, like Curiosity nearly did. You can really clip your back wheel and lose a lot of time. But this uphill Plaxis section, we've seen, I think it was 42 and Nami yesterday, take a very alternate line and catch up nearly 2 tenths earlier, Gex.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was Nami that I remember doing that. It is such an incredible line if you can get that. It is dangerous, but oh my goodness, speaking of dangerous, Scorpid overtakes Spark. It's in desperate times that Scorpid needed wins here, and he pushes it through. It's not his own track this time. He left that one with Whitehorn just a moment ago, but coming through now, that is exactly what he needed. Scorpid back in the race here, only 6 points behind now.
Scorpid has been practicing a little bit on this map with over a 10th PB here, so works in their favour. They have been working out the gears, finding the lines, but I'm hoping Divi can continue the way they're working to keep up with Curiosity and not letting them get away from them, because Scorpid's really bringing himself back in with just that 1 round. They're no longer 10 points, it's only 4. No, it's only 6 now between them and second. So very easy, and it just shows that every round really matters in these type of cup rounds. Because it's the 100 points finalist, and then you got to get a win. Curiosity's looking very solid here against Spark again, Gex.
I think both Curiosities and Spark took the dangerous line there as well, but Spark might have actually taken it too tight, lifted a wheel quite high, lost some speed. Now Curiosity out ahead and pushing for an early finish here, and nobody to really take it from him. Spark comes in second, Diviansh a fair way behind that, and Scorpid chasing it up, but again, just that little gap insurmountable. Scorpid will come dead last here as Curiosity takes out a win against Spark. This is not Spark's map.
Spark was having issues here. I don't think he's the biggest fan of ice, to be honest. I don't know. It's that last quarter and just the last section that gets him going, especially that plastic into that grass. I think that was the Spark just then that clipped the inside of the ring and he's dropped instantly off the back of the pace. That's over a second, I think, gone. 1.5.
I mean, we're talking about where we find the issues, but Spark's made errors all over the track now. I don't know if it is just a snow and ice thing. I would doubt that. I mean, he's been chasing through the ice section okay, kind of keeping pace there. Yeah, he's not gaining, but where the time has been lost is through this plastic and through actual wall touches in other parts of the track. So Spark's going to have to lock in if he wants to kind of maintain the domination he's had through the earlier tracks of this pack. But again, Curiosity out the front. Divyansh chasing up a fair get back to Scorpid, and Spark coming in. Oh, he's just gotten Scorpid at the last second.
Curiosity's the second in the world on this map as well, so they're proving their worth and really taking the points in the hand that have been given. That's 2 back-to-back wins, now putting them 10 points ahead of Divi. So the gap's starting to open. It only takes 1 map Gex really at the end of the day, and Curiosity is looking too solid here, and I think they're going to have a good chance again. They've got a bit of a lead going into this grass section. This sausage curve here is very dangerous because it is a speed check. You don't want to go too far inside, but they are risking it. Spark's got a beautiful line in the dirt.
Yeah, this is what Spark needs, a bit of confidence through here, a little bit of transition there. You can see Curiosity pushing, has the pace out of several of the corners here, but actually loses a bit through the plastic there. Oh, Scorpid with another error. Curiosity, though, now fighting third. Gonna take it there. And huge error, clips the inside. We've seen that a few times this tournament. Such a dangerous point if you're really trying to wring every last millisecond out of this, but Spark is going to lead through once more. Divyansh in second is going to be very important for him. He has let that second place slip a little bit far from him there. 10-point gap that he will be gaining back towards now, and I think there's only 7 points between second and third again. That 10 does get a little bit scary there, though, so he's going to have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, hopefully Curiosity is really showing why they were so high up in the world records on a lot of maps. And in my opinion, the first map was very awkward consistently wise, but we are heading into Voltrix, which I'm pretty sure, I think this was Divi's pick, if I'm not mistaken, which hopefully they can provide some. But like I said, this nose slide in the first section can cost you 0.5 if you don't get it correctly as well.
No, I had intended to write down the picks as they came through, but I didn't get the chance. I would assume that last one had to be Curiosity, though, and you would hope that Divyansh has an advantage here when the advantage was so clear for Curiosity out of that one. That last map, so many issues for so many players. To see Curiosity come through like that is quite crazy.
Yeah, and hopefully they can continue on. Like you said, you need, I reckon, at least a 10-point buffer between you and the person below. And they've lost a little bit of ground back on Divi, but Scorpid is falling off the pack, which is not where I thought they would be. I thought they would be the ones behind Spark trying to hold off Curiosity and Divi. But like we said, anything can happen. It's just if you're performing on the day. And as you can see, Spark is very much performing on the day and having a chance to reach finalists here, Gex, in this round.
There is still a lot to be gained here, and realistically, even Scorpid's still not out of this fight yet. It is just a matter of a big pickup from Scorpid. He is going to have to find a map to be a carry on here and really push through dominantly on that map if he is going to make that catch back up, but the time is there. 92 on Spark means he is going to be a finalist well before anybody else here, and he will be going out first. I can pretty much guarantee that right now. Mathematically, nearly impossible even there as well. But Voltrix coming through with a big finish here. Spark will actually go into his finalist position right now. And Divyansh, again, making back points on that lead from Curiosity there in a fairly big fashion, only 4-point difference.
Yeah, and Spark has the chance to move on to the next round straight away. First round. That's the way you'll want to show consistency on maps. But I can see, I think Divi, has a lot of pace compared to others here. But it's a very tough map.
Whoa,
And like the
doesn't he?
littlest mistake and going into this left-hand plastic, you go a bit wide. Like Scorpion just you lose a lot. And Spark is just flew past.
This is major. Spark and Divianch just about neck and neck there. Finally, Spark gets a little bit of an advantage, but I couldn't tell a difference between the two of them there for so long. Almost identical line through most of that section. In fact, Divianch actually got a slightly better line through the plastic early on, and it's still been conquerable. Spark just indomitable right now, and Divianch coming through in second, making this look like a very good fight for second once more.
Yeah, it's gonna go down to the wire again. Potentially high opportunity for double finals again, but Spark takes first place in the upper round and moves on to, I think it's the semi-final already. Spark is looking too dominant. So if you want to take down Spark's chance at a 4-peat in the ITC, it's gonna be tough. They're looking too solid. That's a massive mistake from Scorpion.
Honestly, I think this might be the most dominant season I've ever seen from Spark. He was expecting to have some difficulty in this, but he is absolutely flying right now, and this is looking very, very tough to beat right now. Speaking of tough to beat, Divianch now actually being contested very, very well here. Curiosity out ahead, and he will need some wins here because Divianch has been quite dominant over him on this map so far, and he needs to hold a lead. Curiosity will make that 2-point lead back again here and push it to 4.
It's a lovely run as well, 46-3. It's a little bit off where Spark was and where the other times were, but the first place is what you need here, and a 6-point gap going into the 90s is it's rough, but it's still, you're ahead of where you want your opponent, but Divi is one to watch out for consistently here. As you said, a bit of a mistake for Curiosity at the start, but they've gained back up just by going that little nose slide, and that leaves them a bit open into that corner. This left-hand corner on this plastic is where I've had a lot of issues. If you go like just a little bit more wide, you can drop down to third gear and lose easily 5 tenths to a second again.
And Divianch has managed to hold just about a perfect line through here once more. Curiosity is gaining. It has the pace. Might drop it through the dirt here. Has to be consistent. Divianch still losing time here, but it's by absolutely minuscule amounts. Slightly more turning on the grouse means Curiosity can't make up the time. Divianch will make first here. Spark being out of this now means that the points between Divianch and Curiosity can blow out dramatically here. But if they keep swapping and changing like this, that's not going to happen.
Scorpion's just trying to fight their way back into it. It just couldn't get anything going on that map as well. Has had 2 maps back-to-back having issues, but we head into Aerial here, which was the random one picked by the game. So hopefully Scorpion can really turn the tails here and bring that point deficit back up, and we can potentially get that third finalist. I would love to see one this tournament. I would love to see that triple finalist.
I would too. I at this point, 92 on Curiosity, 90 on Divianch. I'm starting to feel like it's pretty unlikely that Scorpion can make that back. And the way that Scorpion's racing right now, it feels like he might feel that way as well, unfortunately. You got to say, though, that once Spark went out of this, coming into third is going to be such a big drop-off on points that you really are counting yourself out very, very rapidly from that point on. And Curiosity now has been able to hold the lead from their map pick there earlier. That ice section, brilliant for them, but this is going to aerials now. I don't know if this is going to be more neutral territory between Curiosity and Divianch. Divianch definitely had a little bit of an advantage in that last one. I think we went into that with a 6-point gap, and he made that down to a 2. But Divianch still not ahead there. Very much close enough that both of these should be finalists at the same time, though. So this could come down, and probably will come down to a single round.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a double finalist opportunity, but it does matter if Divi... and it's going to go down to the 2 here. Whoever wins this is going to be on finalists, and they are going to miss out. It won't be a double finalist off the bat. It's going to be one of them. It looks like Curiosity is slowly pulling away from Divi here. 0.3 going into this uphill grasp with the booster. But like I said, we've seen it before, Gex. This turnaround up here, if you can get it low, you can really catch your opponent if you're behind. And I think Divi is going to send it, and that is about as low as I've seen for him lately. But here we go into the final section here.
And Curiosity got lower, though, and increasing that lead. Curiosity looking pretty dominant here. Would have needed something to mess up the quick finish there for Divyansh to get back into the race there. Now Divyansh will need to win twice back-to-back to have the chance at that second spot out from the finalists. But Curiosity, he is there now. He can do it this next round.
Yeah, and Divi really needs to shut the door, and hopefully Scorpion can get back up there. There was another mistake in that round, which is not what you want to see. I had very high hopes for Scorpion going into the ITC 8, but they're not really having the performance they needed here. But I think it was the internet that's got to their head here. The mentals dropped after that little disconnect. But Divi is looking very solid going into this quarter pipe jump, but it's all about the landing, get those two front wheels down. But Curiosity has caught right back up.
Divyansh holding the lead, though, and will need to do so well. And a narrow line on that ground, so necessary to hold maximum speed. Does do so. It's a little bit of an awkward landing. Can he get the low transition? Gets it very low this time. That's a much better line than the first lap of this, and has held Curiosity off. He also held that further right on the wall there and gets the closer drop for the line. Divyansh will hold him off and will make finalists as well. We have the double. Scorpid would have to win every round from here on out to make it 3. I don't think that's possible, but we do have a contest directly for this second spot.
Yeah, it's got to be tough for Scorpion to do the unthinkable. It's 3 rounds, well, pretty much 4 rounds back-to-back to even have a chance to get second here. But it's all down to a one-round battle, Curiosity versus Divi, and they're starting to make a break on Scorpion. Curiosity's had the mistake! It's up to Divi! They just don't need to make a mistake!
The only one that could really keep this being Divyansh would be Scorpion, but he's had a mare of a landing on that transition. Divyansh is ahead and free. Does he know it, though? He cannot make a mistake here. If he chooses to safe, it would be the right choice right now, but still looks to be cutting good lines. Another low transition.
Oh, Curiosity missed it!
Oh my goodness, that's it! Curiosity is gone from this round. Scorpion can't catch Divyansh here without a major error. I think that might be it. Divyansh makes it through. He's done it! Stop over there! And oh my goodness, Curiosity can't make it in time. Scorpion's done it! He's kept them both off. We go another round.
The biggest mistake I've ever seen. Divi had it in the bag and has messed up the risky finish. I don't think they realized that. I don't think they realized Scorpion was over a second behind. They could have even done the safe finish there. But it's called back on again. Divi versus Curiosity again. Scorpion with the comeback of a century, maybe here. Maybe.
Is it doable? Scorpion's going to make a pretty good transition here, though. He's looking like there might be a little bit of confidence behind him after that win. But Curiosity out with a decent lead here again. Divyansh trying to catch up, has passed that backstop marker in Scorpion there. A very low transition. Where's Curiosity gone? He's gone very far on the wall. It's a great transition down. Has the lead. Divyansh is still making time. Curiosity safing as much as he needs to. Does he have the quick finish? It's Curiosity to finish it off, taking that second place. And oh my goodness, yeah, that is brutal. Curiosity didn't make it at all, but oh my goodness, it's Divyansh. How?
Curiosity didn't make the jump into the finish somehow. What happened there?
No, what happened there? He had to have accidentally hit the reset button.
I don't know what just happened.
I think he reset. I think he accidentally reset.
He was in the checkpoint.
He was
in the checkpoint. Oh, someone needs to send that. I need to see that now.
Can somebody in production actually check on what just happened there? That's what on earth did we just see? Divyansh has sniped it. But Curiosity.
I think he
oh my goodness. That's
I'm stunned.
I can't believe I thought I was lagging when I saw Curiosity disappear. And I thought, he's just already in the checkpoint. It's done. No, he's hit the reset button. What on earth?
Happened?
And Divyan did well enough to earn that spot as well as Curiosity had, but that last round, it was Curiosity's. He had it in the bag.
Oh,
That is a brutal.
He reset in midair. I just watched it back. He reset midair. He reset midair. Oh my god. Oh.
Well, I think we've just seen basically a forfeit of a round. That's monumental. That is absolutely insane.
Oh, I'm lost. I'm lost for words. I can't.
Maybe he just wants the lower bracket run.
Yeah.
Nobody is going home out of this round. Keep in mind, this is upper bracket final. And lower bracket quarterfinal going on right now. So he will be dropping down, of course, with Scorpid there to the lower bracket final as well. But what an unexpected finish.
Scorpid. Wait, what happened there? Scorpid? What? I'm so confused. I'm just trying to watch it back here. I'm lost for words. He touched the finish line. I don't know what has happened, but he did touch the finish line. The game has said nay. That's the best way I could explain that. Like, I don't know what the saying is here or what the rules are on this, but I'm lost for words. I can't put. I don't get it. I don't know what happened.
His reset, he continually hits the lower wall, and that's why he goes dead last. He still could have beaten out Scorpid there, I think, with an early enough reset. But what happened? Oh, he does. He gets a wheel touch. He wasn't making it to the finish line.
They both
it's a touch on the left-hand side.
Oh, my.
It's the barest of... Normally, you hit that inside corner, it is a point. You are going to bounce off it. It's going to be noticeable. All that happened there is he lost acceleration and he couldn't make the jump to the finish line. That is the most unbelievable, barest of margins for an error. And the error comes out. Divyansh has taken second very fairly there. That is brutal for Curiosity. That you got to give it to him, though. That's consistency where it counts the most under pressure there. Even when he couldn't take it originally there, and they did give a round to Scorpid as well. So huge out of our first round of the day. But we've got more to continue with. Lumids, it only gets better from here.
I don't know if we can. It's already been a double finalist. Spark did run away with it a bit, but like, can it get better than this? Like, how do we explain that finish?
Exactly. I love it. The excitement's in the air. The shockers will just keep coming. So will we. We're going to be back with our next round for you very shortly. The grand final, of course, coming up at the end of the day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the rest of Indian Trackmania Cup number 8. Welcome back, everybody, after a shocker end to our first round today. I can't believe that. First round of finals, we watched the upper bracket. You expect some consistency to come out, and the pressure gets to those second place finishes there in the biggest way. Curiosity, we did get sent a second point of view of that crash that cost them the grand final position, at least from the upper bracket, and it was an early turn into that corner. It cost them that. We've got to see less mistakes out of this round here in the lower bracket final, because this is where people go home.
Yeah, it sadly is the point where people do go home. But we did see that little mistake. It was about as a pixel clip as you can get. And sadly, the slowdown did cost them enough not to make the jump. But in this lower bracket semi-final that we are into now, we do have Iridium, 42, Nami, and Sid Sensei in a lower bracket semi-final. I don't think I should be saying a couple of these names in lower bracket games.
I know, right? 42 in particular seems very unfair here. Iridium has been great. Nami had some of the best lines through certain corners of certain tracks as well, of anybody, I think. Sid Sensei might be in trouble here, but he's also had some really shocking upset performances already today. So we might have a bit of a surprise on our hands. It doesn't seem like a bracket that should be that close, but I get the feeling we might be in for a show.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be the front runners of maybe Iridium again here and 42 potentially. But like we've seen before, Nami and 42 have been on the same side of the bracket, I think, since yesterday. They've versed each other at least 3 times, I would say.
PWO for life, right?
Yeah, PWO. You guys are good fun there. Okay,
they have come out to represent well.
Since
all right,
has a horn.
Let's get this. Yeah. Let's get this one started. So does 42. He's Peter Griffin the whole way through here. Peter Griffin car, Peter Griffin horn, and he's Peter Griffining his way to 3rd place right now. By the looks of it, he's got a good line through there. Early on, cutting through the plastic. So narrow. My goodness, he's taking risky lines. 42 just wants to set pace.
2 mistakes at the back of the field. Sensei and Nami have clipped both wars. One going into the upper section, one in the left-hand corner. 42 hits a slowdown as well. All mistakes happening in the first round. This is not what you want to see in this lower bracket semi-final. You can go home here potentially.
Can Sensei catch 42 is the real question. He's got more pace, but he just doesn't have the time. He's made a massive error on the inside edge of the corner as well, and Nami's got him too. That is, a rough start to our lower bracket semi-final here. Obviously, they have 2 players waiting ahead that are going to be raring for more as well after that close upper bracket qualifier. You've got to be good coming through this. They are warm. They are waiting. They are ready in that next round in the finals, the lower bracket finals.
Yeah, they're definitely ready in the lower bracket finals, but they are going to be going against some tough players here as well. But this left-hand plastic, we've seen a couple mistakes get caught out early, and it's 42 again. Has come out on top through here. But Iridium, in my opinion, has looked solid through the warm-up and the first round so far.
I mean, look, 42's line is not an impossible line by any means, and it's certainly achievable. It's what you'd be aiming for a PB run, but you're not aiming for a PB run here. You can't afford mistakes. You have to choose something to be safer, and 42 just says, no, I don't. I don't agree. I'm going to go win, and I'm going to set a new record.
I need to set a limit here of not watching Sensei anymore because that man is spamming that horn since I called it out. I'm not watching him anymore.
42 does have the world record on this track too.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So 42 is looking very solid then against Iridium.
Not far behind. There's actually 0.01 between them exactly for best times. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, but this first section we've seen 42 can catch up a little bit, and there's a big mistake from Nami again in that same section. The left-hand corner has caught them out twice, but this downhill section that you've got to get a little bit of air, and Sensei's actually performing pretty well.
42 is right on their tail. There's only really a couple corners left to sort it, though. Iridium holding off, but I don't think Sid Sensei can. It's 42 sniping that second spot.
I figure a little bit of a lower jump going into that sausage into the risky finish. That caused them to catch a little bit more speed hitting that jump. And still, we're having a bit more of a space being brought out in the first map here compared to the last round, Gex. Iridium's not really making as much of a big mark as I thought they would this early. I thought they'll be leading by at least, I would say, probably 6 to 8 into this, probably out of this map 1. But their 42's just doing their best to hold him off here. I just can't
believe the lines that he's risking early. Consistency issues should be expected when you don't ever choose anything safe. You're just going for blistering speed through here. Has been getting, I believe, already we've seen 2 top 5 times come out of the runs in this track. Iridium leading again here, though, and Iridium again is in 3rd for this track with really nothing between the top times between him and 42, and it's showing right now. Iridium with consistency, and 42 making those small errors early have cost him some points.
45.8 as well. We're doing top 5 world record times in this semi-final. So the pace at the moment is where you would think it would be. It's at the top of the top, but it's too consistent, in my opinion. Too consistent.
I actually think 42's win there came out as a 45.6 as well, which would put it in contest for a new world record. I didn't get to see what the last 2 digits of it were. We may have actually had a world record set just then.
That's insane. That's just proving the pace right there. As my ears getting tickled by a horn again here. Big love, Sid Sensei. You're an absolute legend.
I wish I knew what it said, but at the same time, I may not ask. This warm up is spicy with the horns in you. So where's 42's horn? I need Peter Griffin to correct things. Yeah.
I need to hear the giggle. I love the
holy crap. Give us the Peter Griffin.
I'm not letting it out, mate. You're not getting one from me. I'm not. But I feel like 42 and Iridium going into Whitehorn again are the top 2 to beat in the world. So again, they might be the ones to make the break here, which you don't really want in when you're the bottom 2, but they're starting to make a run for it here, Gex. 15 points from Nami. That first map, I did say that I watched a couple mistakes in that one left-hand corner. Hopefully they can catch a bit up here, but they're a little bit behind early already, Gex.
At 42 on pace. Nami in behind, actually, but 42 well out ahead. A mistake from Iridium has sent him well back, several seconds behind now. I don't think there's any competition. Oh, my goodness, I say that, and a massive error comes out from 42. There is competition for first.
Yeah, big mistake there. And that's going to give Nami a bit of space to work with Sid Sensei behind, trying to hunt down.
Sid Sensei.
I got to hop off Sid Sensei as well. I'm watching from 42's perspective. And we're going to see Nami absolutely gapping the field by over half a second going into this dirt section. But like we said before, it's very dangerous as 42's going with the snipe. Second place away from Sensei. And I am glad he did, because that horn needs to be put out of this game. It needs to go.
Send him home. We've had one crash out this tournament because of a horn. Don't make it a second one. I feel like it's gonna happen by the end of this day. I can't stop hearing it. 42 is second to Iridium here out of the first corners, but again, there's that quick turn. That grass, the right line through there can make or break, but that's not usually the line that will cost you. 42 making a very uncharacteristic error. I just want to see consistency out of 42. We know you're fast, dude. Just do something to save, please.
I feel like 42 has gotten away with the other 2 making mistakes, as like Sid Sensei and Nami. Nami's had an absolute shocker at the moment again on this map with a couple major mistakes. And that's given 42 some second places where they shouldn't even be getting a top 2. They should be at least 4th. In other rounds they would be. But the consistency is really struggling, and Iridium's just capitalized on every... Oh! As I say that,
He's made it through. That is by the barest of margins, though. I thought he was going to take himself out on the bottom of the finish line. But does make it over. 42 comes through in third. Nami is having a tough time of this map, and Sid Sensei really catching up right now.
Yeah, it's good points for Sid here in this map. Wasn't the best one from before, 23 to 28. Nami still is actually in reach now, only 10 points, so 42 having those major mistakes actually is costing.
I am twitching. This horn has my eye twitching. I can't. It's unbelievable. It's might be the worst thing I've ever had to endure during a cast. That's crazy. 42 goes high, maybe getting some speed downward on the slope there, and he does in fact use that to get out ahead. Good high run through there. Will he risk it and go too sharp through there? We've seen him make errors in several crucial points of the track. Iridium now can get ahead with a very good line. Oh my goodness, what a slide through there. Will hold first.
42's got pace.
42, my goodness, he's so close. 42's made the touch on the wall. He's lost it to Nami as well. Iridium takes it, and 42 barely makes it over the line. Sid Sensei getting in third.
Oh, I was tired at since Torn
With the
going past
horn.
42 in
Yeah.
the distance.
Blasting
That
through.
was amazing. That one I respect. But it just disappeared with the fadeaway. It was perfect. But
Yeah.
Iridium is starting to pull away from 42 here, which is really starting to give the buffer from them to be safe going into the upper, I think it's the upper final as well, to give them into that round with Spark and so on. But again, 42 has been looking quick here, Gex, and has a quick time, but they're consistently making mistakes. And it's a little mistakes, but it's costing them dearly.
Iridium and 42 out in front again. This is the battle that we were kind of expecting, but very, very closely contested right now on the leaderboards. And 42, he might be able to make that closer. That's a huge wipeout. Iridium. Is that a real wipeout, or was that a
reset?
No, just plowed himself into a wall and reset instead? That he just didn't turn.
Yeah, it just went wide. Don't know what happened. I don't know if he tried to drift it. It just drift. It just straight. It just straightened up. The brakes just locked. He went head on. But Nami had a massive mistake as well at the end there, which gave I think it was Sid Sensei to come through again to snap a nab off second place, which is really reeling in 42. But big points being given. Iridium is showing some cracks, but has also got a bit of buffer where they can have those cracks.
If Sid still has his horn bound to the L3, how hard is he gripping that controller? Because that horn is going all of the time. Is he just constantly ramming his stick right through the controller? Like, I expect to hear the sound of shattering plastic at some point.
It's got to be broken soon. Surely he's indulging himself into stick drift. Like, it's got to happen eventually.
Right.
He's clicking it. He has to be clicking it that hard. It's got to bring on a natural stick drift. But we are headed on to relevations, which has that NASCAR turn into this uphill where we've seen multiple mistakes end on end. But like we've seen before, Gex, this track itself has, I reckon, the most alternate line choices where they're pretty even, but if you can nail one of the inside ones, you can carry it all the way through onto the inside and keep the pace the same as the outside, but just cutting half the track to get an extra 10th there.
I do expect this to be a good track for 42 here as well, with his penchant for just going for all-out runs. The ability to make a mistake and then just pick up an alternate line and be at a similar pace is going to be a saving grace for 42, especially since he clips the checkpoint on the way through the beginning there. Nami out ahead now with Iridium just about on top, and will make a first place there for himself as well. It's a battle for it. And 42 struggling to catch up.
It's a big mistake from Sid Sensei as well. Off the first jump into the bobsleigh jump into the quarter pipe has cost him dearly. But we're going to head into this NASCAR corner, which I've seen multiple mistakes happen when they've gone too wide, and Nami had to let go. He had to let go, otherwise he was clipping the wall, and that's cost him again a lot of time away. But 42 has even had a bigger mistake, Gex. They must have a multiple one. That's 4 seconds behind, but
I didn't see what happened there, but that's a huge error. It hasn't sacrificed himself third position. I don't think he was making that up regardless. That early touch on the checkpoint to begin with there, that first checkpoint where you try and go under the arch, very, very tough to recover from that on this track. Like I said, it's a very forgiving track, this one. I think Revelations, like I said, that if you make that mistake and have to choose another line, they are viable. So 42 making that error, it just means there's so little time to catch up. Nami makes the opposite mistake and turns too early, clips the inside of the starting barrier there.
Iridium can get 3 back-to-back wins here. I know it's a bit of a reach to say that, but they would love to be on match point and finalists going on into the next map. But hopefully 42 can keep their consistency going. They have had a bit of cracks being shown, but they're looking very quick here going into this NASCAR corner. Can they take that inside line? They're gonna go risk it and put their wheels over the edge and risk the slowdown, but they're in reach of Iridium going into this last section again.
42, he is one. Risk it, and it might have just gotten him into first here with a mistake from Iridium, sending him back to third now. All the way back goes Sid Sensei as well. Huge mistakes everywhere. Full second ahead. 42 will have no problem securing that one.
Yeah, they needed that points. That's big points to get away from Nami, who was actually starting to look very solid here in this map at least. They had, in my opinion, the first map was where Nami was probably the worst, but they've really turned it on here in this back half of this round. And it's still, you're going against 42 and Iridium, which are easily top 5, like we were talking about before. Like, they shouldn't really be in a lower bracket semi-final, but with the sheer amount of upsets we had yesterday, this is the position they've been put into, and it's the do or die situation. Otherwise, they go down into the lower bracket finals.
Big mistake on that last round from Sid Sensei as well. But otherwise, I feel like Sid Sensei has been continuously coming up. Like, it's almost like Sid Sensei is just learning these maps on the fly. It has been improving dramatically in front of our eyes. Another big mistake coming out on this round as well, though. And you can't really come in with those consistency issues and expect to take down, well, at least the likes of Iridium. I would normally have said 42, but 42 is playing a very risky game today. Out ahead right now, though, that sharp, fast line doing him wonders. A second round in a row, and Iridium does follow it through. Should realistically, if 42 can hold consistently, be the order of things.
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where it's going to be tough for Nami and Sid Sensei to bring it back to 42, because those back-to-back wins is 20 points, and it's a lot. The 10 to 6 point difference adds up over time, and it's very major. Each round counts. You don't want to get in last because the 3-point deficit is absolutely huge. But Iridium again, beautiful start. That was a different line than usual. It was more on the right side there.
Yeah, I noticed yesterday we had, I cannot remember who it was for the life of me, but we had one particular racer out on track that was hitting that right-hand side every time. It was a very defined and chosen strategy there, and incredibly intentional, and always came out in front after that point. Even early errors weren't keeping them from that first-place position. It can gain some massive speed, but I think might have been picked up by a couple of other people after yesterday, and Iridium definitely giving it a go there. Makes the best of it. Can he hold it though? Oh my goodness, that's so close. 0.013 is the difference back to 42 in second.
That's one of the closest finishes we've had in a round. That's a great round. And Iridium, I think, moves all the way up to 94 points. So a great chance to get on the finalist first round into the new map. But Nami had some issues again going into that corner. It was before the downhill into that right, going into the grass. They clicked that checkpoint where we seen someone get stuck yesterday, and they had to reset, and that's when Sid Sensei flew past and got those major points. But I don't see Nami and Sid catching up here, as we are on Flojo, which is a very, very difficult track.
Flojo, again, another one to prompt heavy mistakes here. 42 is going to need mistakes out of Iridium if he's going to make that up before the finalist really has that advantage out ahead. Of course, I do expect 42 to make finalist. I think even now there's still a very good chance of Iridium and 42 being finalists at the same time. There's no massive domination out of the points between the two of them there, but it will be required really for Iridium to make a mistake for 42 to get his chance to get out on top of Iridium here, I think.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to mistakes, and hopefully 42 don't have mistakes of their own, which can cause them to give Nami and Sid Sensei a chance to catch back up. Because we've seen it happen before where one map can really cost everything. We've seen, I think it was Divi and catch up to Curiosity in just a singular map where Curiosity was over, I think, had that 10-point buffer, and Divi shut it down in 2 rounds on a singular map from back-to-back wins.
Well, that we know that as soon as the first finalist goes out as well, that the first place again will continue to get those 10 points. You suddenly have the ability to get out ahead of the rest of that lower pack. So there is the option here that if Iridium finishes out early, that Sid Sensei or Nami can make that 10 points relatively consistently and keep Iridium from using his 42, from using his own finalist position there. But It's yet to be seen. Iridium, though, looking good to take out a finalist position here. 42 chasing up in second. That is going to be the 10 points from Iridium. And second place for 42 there. Sid Sensei looking good for second with a fairly long trail from Nami.
Yeah, Nami had a major mistake at the start of that one as well. It's not quite their day here, sadly, which I'm quite upset about because I was very excited to see Nami, but being put into the lower bracket semi-final against some of the biggest names in the tournament, and this is your do or die in the competition. It's win or lose, You're out, and you've got Iridium and 42 here, who should be easily the top four in the entire tournament.
For me, Nami probably has put himself into a position that Divyansh was in last year, and I think that track is a good one to be on if you're looking at progression and you're on the same track path as Divyansh, who is already waiting up ahead of you right now. Then you certainly are on the right line of things. Nami, back tire touches there. 42 gets ahead. Iridium looking to go out this round, and it's looking good. Iridium just needs to make the ice slide, and it's not looking problematic for them. 42 will run wide and fast. Nami in behind that, and Sensei will come out last.
Big GGs to Iridium, showing why they will probably the top seed going into this and coming out on top finalists before 42 even reaches the finalist point limit, which is a very dominant performance. But still, it all comes down to this. Can Nami and Sid Sensei shut down 42 for multiple rounds to give one of them a chance? And that's the mistakes they need 42 to be making. Give them opportunities to shut the door on him, to get them back in the race. If he hit the speed check and they go into this first left, into this dirt, there's different line choices are coming out. Sid Sensei with a big line up on the outside.
Yeah, trying to get as much grip as possible on those outside edges. Oh my goodness, Nami's gone, and 42 creeps back into a lead. He's fixed his error. 42 pushing through the penalty grass into the transition downward. As long as he avoids that inside corner, and he does, should be home free for a position here. Sensei's going to send it wide. It's a good line, but it's just not good enough.
This 42 heads on to the finalist points now. They only need to win one more round to move on to, I'm pretty sure it is the lower bracket final. And then they have the chance to make the grand final against Spark. And if I'm not mistaken, who was it again, Gex, that made it through last round? My brain's having a bluff again.
Well, I'll tell you where you guys at home can find that information. Go to the Pick'ems. You can, I believe, still make them at the moment, and we'll give you your recent matches there. It was, of course, Spark and Divyansh making it through to the grand final. Scorpid and the Curiosity waiting now in the lower bracket final.
As Nami's had a big mistake here, and this is giving 42 the absolute prime opportunity to take this finalist win and move up into the lower bracket final with Iridium. And it's looking very solid here. They got over nearly 2 seconds. Yeah. Nami's taking a DMF. They know it's over.
Rough for Nami there. Sid Sensei, surely we give him the camera to come through with the horn at the end of this at the very least. 42's got it locked in. Sid Sensei, give us the horn one more time, surely. There, just a glimpse of it. A tiny little honk for the trail end of this, but 42 takes the second place.
At the end of the day, it was a pretty dominant performance from Iridium and 42. Just about 40 points. I think it was 34 points at the end between 42 and Nami. But it's not really the results you really want going out of the tournament. But still, they placed pretty well. They made it into day 2 here, Gex. They can't really be upset with themselves. Hopefully, they'll be back for ITC 9.
You would hope so. Like I said, Nami in particular is sitting in a position that I expected some great things out of last year, and those players have advanced into that kind of expectation this year. I think we're seeing way more consistency, some really high top speeds, and as a result, the entire map pack has been made harder. It is all coming up right now. The scene is supporting itself, and the growth is evident, and that is most evident, I think, in some of the players we are sending home from our finals here. And that will, this time around, be Nami and Sid.
Yeah, sadly, I wasn't expecting Nami to go out this early on in the tournament, but Sid again actually put up a pretty good of a fight against Nami and showing that they do have potential, and hopefully next year, like you said, that Divi run, they can get that momentum going into the next year, and they can use that into the next map pack and really show their true colors into the ITC 9. But again, congratulations to Iridium and 42, proving their worth and moving up into that lower bracket final, and congrats to both of them.
Yeah, ITC 9 yet to be seen, but what is immediately ahead of us is the lower bracket semi-finals, and you will be seeing 42 and Iridium there, of course, and they will be facing off against the losers of our first round today, where we saw Scorpid and Curiosity drop down to them. Curiosity by the barest of margins. That's going to be crushing. Curiosity, I cannot see losing that one, but you guys will get to find out in no time. Welcome back for the penultimate round of our tournament here. ITC number 8 has been a thrill so far, and nonetheless disturbing out of our last round, that's for sure, Limits. But we are heading into the lower bracket finals, and 42's still here, so I'm not expecting anything different.
Yeah, 42 is still here. It's going to be questionable, but we do have Scorpid here as well, and one can only hope there's no more internet issues here from Scorpid. Hopefully. Yeah. And they do have the Indian flag on today, so hopefully that gives them some luck. They did have the worldwide on yesterday, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give credit where it's due. Scorpid made it through to the top, to the upper bracket final, even with those internet issues. But so I don't really know what was happening earlier. It was uncharacteristic, but certainly here with a little bit more of a chance. Curiosity, though, I mean, he was the expected winner. He'd earned it a little earlier, the finalist position in the upper bracket. He had made his run through with a fairly dominant lead. I think he had a 0.2 of a second there over second place, and then got the least fortunate, the most unlikely error, the pixel clip. That was the most brutal way I've ever seen a run end, when it is the run that costs you your grand final position potentially.
Especially when you can just go straight up into the lower bracket final, when you know you've got names of Iridium and 42 and also the likes of Nami that were in that other lower bracket round from the early get-go. So being in this matchup against Iridium, 42, Curiosity, and Scorpid, which we got to give a shout-out again to Scorpid, coming in with those tech issues and making it all the way into the lower bracket final. But we are going to hit into the pick and bans here.
Yep. Pick phase is going to come up pretty quick here. Curiosity taking out Flojo right now. It is a bit of a process coming through this one. That was not Curiosity's pick last time, if I'm not mistaken, though, right? That was not what Curiosity went with.
I thought Curiosity had Voltrix, and I think Scorpid has gone their map again, the one they built, the typical.
Yep.
Typical.
Revelations was Spark last time, and Aerials was the random pick.
No one likes Aerials anymore for some reason.
Yeah.
42
does, apparently. Yep. Well, that makes sense, because nothing makes sense with 42. I feel like this is going to come down to Curiosity being able to create mistakes out of nothing, and 42 being able to create mistakes out of everything.
It's really going to happen like that, but I feel like the favorite really going into this has to be Iridium. I feel like them being the runner-up last year and just consistently being at the top of every matchup they've had, really, other than the one they got third in. I think they sadly got beaten out by Divi, which was an absolute beautiful run from Divi. But hopefully they can stay consistent. But we did see it in the earlier lower bracket round gigs. They did have some major mistakes on certain maps.
I still think 42 has the potential to take this here. I think 42's pace is much faster than Iridium's. However, it just comes down to that consistency. 42 has just been unable to help himself but go for a world record run on just about every run. And when he makes the conscious decision to not do that, then he's pushing himself probably a little slower than he needs to be. And then he's sitting around that third place mark. So you've got to find that comfortable balance there. If 42 can calm down the world record runs a bit, just still risking, but in a slightly safer manner, those good lines, then you might see 42 sneak out a win here against Iridium, but I would agree that Iridium right now should have an advantage over 42. Curiosity has got to take this for me, though.
I've also just found out it's Piwo, and Iridium. There's 3 of the same team members here. So
yesterday we had all 4.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
So the Indian Trackmania community has been absolutely gobbled up by one team here. Iridium's just said, you know what? I'm just going to solo bolo it and put it to the wall and run it against every team in this competition. And they've proved their worth. But also, I think Curiosity might take it. I think Curiosity has a chance to take an upset 42 and Iridium here. I feel like with their performances lately,
got my bet on this. If I feel make a pick for this one, Curiosity's on top. I mean, he came out so he should have taken second out of the top bracket. How do you doubt him here?
Yeah, 100%. Like Spark was very dominant in that first bracket, but Curiosity was the one that was supposed to go through into the grand final, but did have that mistake with the pixel grab, and 42 with a big mistake early, and it's got to leave it up to Iridium and Curiosity side by side into this dirt. And Scorpion's had a big mistake as well, Gets.
If we were already expecting Curiosity to do well, then you've got the mistakes that have already come up on top of that, and the fact that this first map is Curiosity's pick as well. This is looking pretty good for Curiosity right now. A full second ahead pretty much of second place now, and just continuing to grow that lead. This is an insanely fast run.
And hopefully Scorpio can use their experience they've gotten over in the last day on the practice. They do have the PB here from the last 24 hours, but it is going to be Curiosity taking out the win with Iridium coming in second place there. 42, we did say, it's either they full send it and do a red record pace and crash, or they save it a bit too much and they don't really have the pace to compete with the top times.
I think that's what Curiosity does right as well. If you look at that time there, that was 9th in the world. Somewhere between 7th and 9th seems to be a time that is very consistent for these top professional players out of this region. And I would expect that to be where 42 is targeting. And yet, I think we already actually saw there was a possibility of a record breaker early on in the last round. So you got to be stop trying for those top 5 and just settle a little bit further back than that.
It's the consistency. Like, you can go fast, but you can also go slow. Is also fast in a certain point, and slow to them is only about 0.3 slower than their PBs and their world record times. But Iridium is looking very solid. He's got to take a first place, but we did see Curiosity have a major mistake early on into that round as well.
Yeah, 10 seconds behind just about here, 9 on the dot. Actually, as he comes through, it's just in time. But on their own map, the expected winner here, and coming out with doubt as to whether they would even earn points out of that round is pretty brutal. Though 42 not reaching double digits yet, you've got to have the doubts there.
Yeah, you're going to have the doubts, but we've seen it before. 42 is a very domination player, and Curiosity in the same spot. That's where they had the mistake in the round just before this. And Scorpions had one behind. It's just going to be Iridium and 42 going into this left-hand corner.
42 holding that high pace here that you expect, but Iridium is going to make it out in front. There's the right line through the plastic again. We learned it yesterday, and now it is absolutely being put into effect time and time again. Iridium out massively in front, never going to risk that inside edge. It's been collected by too many people. Inside edge through the ice, fastest line possible through there. A little bit of a game from 42, but not going to be any problem holding that off, and Curiosity in third.
Consistent top 7 times again. Like, the pace is outrageous right now, and that's how it has to be when you've got some of the best players in the region in the lower bracket final. A couple upsets still happened today, and those major upsets from yesterday have really thrown a spanner into the works here. Hopefully Curiosity, I think, has just made another mistake in the same spot, and they have got 3 times in the same section.
How do you pick this as your track and then do that time and time again? Curiosity didn't make this many mistakes on this track last time in the upper bracket, and they were against Spark. How do you've got I guess it's the bigger pressure is the threat of dropping out of this tournament, though.
Yeah.
That is where it really comes down to. And we're in the final of the elimination rounds. Grand final is the only thing left after this. 42 sent it very wide on the ice. Can't catch back up to Iridium, and Iridium snipes it.
42 did an amazing bit of ice work there to even recover that. I thought he was about to ice slide into the checkpoint and not even make it to the finish line. But they touched the brake just a little bit more just to get that angle so they can get the slide again, and that thrown him back into it. But Iridium comes out of top out of Curiosity's map pick. Not really the performance you want to see on the map you chose. And second place is in arm's reach of absolutely everyone. It's only 3 points between them.
No, we did say I don't think that first time around that was the map pick from Curiosity either. So maybe just the poor choice this time around was all that was, or maybe it's a strategy. Curiosity says get it out of the way early, and then I can just pick up points for the rest of the tournament.
And hopefully it is, because we are on Whitehorn, which is we've seen before. One mistake here can cost you plenty of time, and sadly, I hate to say it, we've seen a lot more mistakes today than I think we did yesterday in some of the lower bracket rounds, which is not what you want to see in this talent of a pool, this much talent in the pool. I don't know if it's the nerves get really kicking in that you can lose your spot in the tournament just by losing this round.
I mean, it's also the pace, right? You're in a deeper section of the tournament where the expectation is if you can't make the fast run, you don't make the run at all. And you do have to start putting more and more risks into your run, especially if you're not comfortable with that high pace. It might be something you can get as a one-off, but throwing yourself at that pace time and time again, you're going to have more mistakes. That's kind of what we see out of the likes of 42, but Iridium is holding that pace very, very well. He's come through the lower bracket to get here as well, and now Curiosity, who came out of that top bracket as an expected winner there, is barely hanging on to second place.
Yeah, it's not looking the best here, but we were also thinking 42, I thought was going to have a bit more gap, and I really thought Curiosity, with the pace they had within this tournament, they were going to be very, very up there with Iridium right now. But Iridium's just showing sheer amount of pace, and this is a beautiful time here, Gex. This might be close to world record. This is unstoppable.
Iridium is absolutely full send here, and yet he doesn't look like this is too risky for him. Very outside line here, doesn't need to tap the top, and he does. 42 cuts through. He's going to go to the back of the pack, and it's good for Curiosity. You would have come dead last without it, but Iridium, my goodness. I was ready to call that one a world record. It looked so quick.
It was so quick. That entire I would say the first three sectors off that track was absolutely mental from Iridium. The pace they pull on 4 temps, which the others were on heaters themselves. They weren't doing below average times here. That was absolutely flying on all axles you can, as 42 makes a massive mistake on the booster and ends up into the wall. It's going to leave Curiosity and Scorpion battling for the lead here. Something we haven't said much this round.
At least Scorpion should be, though. This is his map choice, and if it is your map of choice, you've got to make the best out of it. He comes out of the braking section earliest, does pick up a little bit of speed, but he might have lost it through the humps of the plastic section there. Curiosity still holding, though. Iridium gaining speed, though. He is so quick, even with a mistake early. Oh my goodness, he's clipped it. He won't need to go high with the underwhelming pace now, but Scorpion might take it. He sniped it from Curiosity. What a comeback.
Scorpion, I think, was 2 temps back going into that dirt corner. So I think they've hugged it absolutely on the outside and rode the berm perfectly. And then what they did, they jumped from the left to the right so they could land on the ice and get the slope back down. And then they overtook at the very end of the line. But Iridium has made 2 mistakes on the same spot. Curiosity again at the start has that little touch up there again, Gex.
I don't know what's happening there. Curiosity just succumbing to pressure, really. He doesn't need as fast a line as he's pushing for. I think he's forgetting that he's come out of a deserved win of the upper bracket round. If he were just to repeat that performance, he would be fine here.
Yeah, it would be fine, but a lot of mistakes coming out on both ends as Iridium has hit the wall 3 times back-to-back. I hate to call it out, but I just watched it happen as this one's going to be up to Scorpion and Curiosity. But I think Scorpion may have this one in the bag. About a half a second lead going into this left hand. We see this right-hand drift really sets you up for the entry into the dirt. If you go too far outside, you have the chance to slide up too far than you want. Curiosity has a chance to snipe. Hey, Mike got it. He's got it.
Oh, he did it. 0.01. That is the closest we've had. We up the margin fairer again, or down it rather. As Scorpion at least taking wins on his own map here. He is back on form. You've got to say, Scorpion is back on form. Finally seeing Scorpion on stream for the first time this event, the way that we should be viewing him. And Scorpion seems to be back on top of his mental state and certainly back on top of his gameplay. I haven't seen any net issues this round.
But this is where Scorpion should be performing, though. This is their map. They built this map. They should know the lines like the back of their hand. They should know. It should all be muscle memory at the end of the day. And they made these awful times and they followed it up.
What's he got? Fifth in the world. I think after an overnight run there, 2 hours before the tournament, he set a new PB and got 5th there. But I believe he's got some faster times on other maps. He's 4th there on aerials. Which I believe might have been his pick. He's 4th on Whitehorn, and that would be it for the better times. But yeah, he's got slightly better times on both Whitehorn and aerials. And I think last year he also came out with a map that he had better times on other maps than his own as well.
It was a bit. I don't know if you were seeing that one a little bit there, Gax, but 3 players at the end in that dirt section made mistakes. And I think it was 42 that snuckily got the win again. But we're moving into, I think this is Voltrix. This is the map one off the pack, in my opinion. One of the easier ones, but also the mistakes can cost you very dearly again. But Iridium is making a bit of a run for it here, Gax.
The problem with the easier maps is that there's just so little in it between the players. So even the slightest mistakes, the ones that are near imperceptible, they will cost you this map. Whereas you would need a crash out. That's what you're relying on from other players. If you reach the back of the pack on this one, you're relying on errors that are much less likely to come out of the players in front of you.
100%, but also hopefully, I'm just going to quickly have a gander. It's 42 does have the world record. I just wanted to make sure that 42 still has the world record. But Scorpion has been improving on, like you said before, a couple maps, and they have got another PB here by nearly a 10th as well. So hopefully they can use that to their advantage of the warm-up. But still, it's going to be the chase down Iridium. But I wasn't expecting Curiosity to be this far behind. But it's not really that far, actually. I'm not going to lie. It's 6 points still, Gex. It's still anyone's game for second place.
I mean, it's only 16 top to bottom. Really, really close pack right now. So Curiosity could theoretically even make up first place right now. We've only passed halfway in the battle for 100 points to get that first finalist position. And that means we've still got a lot of Trackmania ahead of us. ITC number 8 is not failing to disappoint here, but Iridium in battle with 42 up the top once more.
Into this grass section where you can do a little bit of a let go just so you can get the angle, but they are going full stand, no slowdowns at all. The most minimal air you can get. In this dirt section, you want to keep that 4th gear. If you lose the gear, you can lose easily about 30 kilometers behind your teammate. But Iridium does have the speed. 42 did have to do a little drift. It's got to go down to the line. 42 keeps it.
I actually am very happy to see 42 keep that there. 42 had this as probably the nightmare map of the last round. The lower bracket quarterfinal did not look good for him here, and the mistakes have been reined in. He's not risking that black post in the middle that I think he hit. I think I called it out. He hit it more times than there were rounds. It definitely needed to be reined in his expectation of what he could make through this on consistency, and coming through with the first place and still not risking those things, a very good look for 42 there.
definitely a good look for 42. And 42 and Iridium on this track seem to just have a lot more pace going into that first section. I think it was a mistake for Curiosity, but it's got to be 42 and Iridium side by side into this dirt section. Both of them keeping that fourth gear. We're going to see that line choice again. Iridium decides to go a little bit wide. Does get a bit more pace again. It's going to go down to a snipe on the line. Takes it again by 0.04.
There's been less than 500th of a second between these guys every round so far, and I could see it keeping up. As if 42 has sorted his consistency issues, wasn't I just saying that that there was only a gap of 16 top to bottom, and suddenly 42 is right behind Iridium again?
Yeah, it went from 16 top to bottom to only 6, I think, between 42 and Iridium. So they're really neck and neck to see who gets out first. And that's a big mistake from Iridium. 42 has an amazing opportunity to get another win under the belt. And it's looking that way as Curiosity has a mistake as well. It's got to be Scorpion to chase down 42. But he's got a bit wide into the dirt section, but it's still looking smooth. 42 just has to keep it clean going into this grass section, and they're going to do that. 42 takes another 10-pointer against Iridium with that major mistake.
Yeah, and a third place from Iridium is the crucial thing here, really. 42 was guaranteed that
45-8
number one point, I feel like, out of that. What was that time?
45-8.
That is in the top.
That's just top 6.
Yeah, that's crazy. Again, he is just pulling it in that little bit, though. He's not going for the world record run. He's going for consistency right now, and it's benefiting 42 massively.
But he has had a major mistake going into this first round, but Scorpion clips that inside as well. Iridium has a good chance to put that lead back ahead as they both are tied. That lead Iridium had by 10 is now dropped down to 0. As Curiosity has a major one. Iridium's had a slowdown. 42's in the lead again after the start.
Oh my goodness.
How has this happened?
Iridium's fighting for it, though. It's not over yet. Iridium might just get his nose out ahead again, and it is a win for Iridium. 42. Again, just barely over 500th of a second. 680 there. That's what? 8,600 even.
So 42 had a big crash at the start, drops down pretty much a second and a half behind, and then everyone ahead has a slowdown and a crash themselves, which brings 42 back up into the fight. But Iridium snipes it off there, and we're gonna head off to Aerial here. Who was this one's picked by? This one was picked by 42, if I'm not mistaken. This was 42's pick. So hopefully they can use this to get their advantage on Iridium and get that points back. It's only down to a 4-point deficit now.
Yeah, definitely will be seeing this one if this continues, go to a double finalist position for that first place. But again, the drop back to Scorpion is not that far. Curiosity in behind that is bizarre. Curiosity is going to be kicking himself if he dropped the opportunity to go straight to grand final from the upper bracket and then comes down here and succumbs to pressure. That is one of the most brutal ways to go out of this.
Yeah, it would be a tough way to go out of it, especially when you had it in your hands, really, and then you take the inner line in this last section.
Oh, 42! He's
has a clipper
on the warm-up. That's I just hate seeing it because I know that these are errors that 42 might be likely to make in the session. It's so hard to expect consistency out of 42 out of last round, but there's less doubt on it for me now after that last map. That was an excellent run from 42 there.
This map is Curiosity and Iridium have about a 2/10 PB on 42 here, which is a big gap, and I think Scorpion as well is up there. Is also got a 2/10 gap. So Curiosity and Iridium have a beautiful 2/10 gap between 42 and Scorpion's PBs here. So if they can keep their consistent PB times going here, it's gonna be very tough to reel them in here on this track. But like we said, it all comes down to this turn here. If you can really get it low, you can catch up to anyone from anywhere, really.
Everyone quite low there, but I think both Iridium and Curiosity got it out a slight bit lower than 42 there. It's looking like a good chase in here, but by this point here, it is usually decided, 42 nearly took himself out of the quick finish there as well. But Iridium and Curiosity, very consistent runs from them. Very, very few errors.
50.7 already is a top 7 time in the world, so they're not slowing down at all at the moment. But Iridium has the chance now to reach finalists very early to give themselves that opportunity to make it into the grand final on aerial, which I thought it was going to be a bit later than this. I thought we were going to have at least another map before we see any finalists, but at the moment, Iridium and 42 are making the run for it.
And 42, I feel like it's just that 10 gap gained in the right moment for Iridium to maybe hold 42 off for what was needed for a placement here, not only a finalist position. And it's looking good for it as well. Curiosity is on for a chase, and this 42 again runs slightly higher. It's going to be a chase up on a losing battle here. He needs a mistake. Curiosity and Iridium out in front, though. Iridium is going to take a line that is very, very tough and go straight back to last. Curiosity comes out in first. 42 getting the 6 points, and Iridium only getting 3. No finalists out from this round.
Yeah, no finalists. That second place was secured there to actually be able to get them on the finalists. So now 42 has the chance to be able to stop them from getting finalists again this early. But it's all on Curiosity and Scorpion to shut them down, because you can't really let both of them get onto finalists so early on into this round. But that's what happens. The consistency has been shown, and Iridium and 42 have been the most consistent in this matchup.
Yeah, Iridium making that mistake meant 42 had to win that last round.
Yeah.
He could have made back that 10 gap, and that would mean this round it was plausible to get a finalist position. It isn't now. 42 is also chasing into this to try and take more, but he's got to take realistically 3 rounds back to back here to keep Iridium at bay, because almost guaranteed he will be finalist as long as he gets a decent finish here. He's going to have to go low, and 42 will take the 10 points. Iridium going out with 4.
He's still not a finalist.
That's 99. It's there. 42 and Iridium both looking like they will absolutely be finalists in the same round.
Yep. They both, no matter what, as long as they finish this round here, they will both be on finalists going into the next. But Scorpion and Curiosity need to win pretty much every single round just to shut them down so they can get onto finalists. But Scorpion's made a major mistake off the bat, and it's going to leave it down to 42 and Curiosity at the front of the pack.
Curiosity out ahead, though. 42 in behind him, but not looking like he's going to take it anytime soon. A decent gap here. Curiosity not going to risk the line. It's not the fastest, but he does have some gap to sacrifice here before he'd lose the position. Great transition. It's very low from everybody, though. I don't know if he's gained much out of that. 42 still on his tail. Curiosity makes a transition across the gap. 42 makes the error, and now it's Iridium to chase. Curiosity goes low. It's the fast finish from both. Curiosity's got them both and going to keep it at bay, and once more push for the opportunity. 10 points will get him to 82, and it's possible here. Curiosity can make that second spot still.
It's just tough, though, when you got double finalists. You can't let 2 people, you can't let half the lobby win. You need to win. Scorpion and Curiosity need to make absolutely 0 mistakes in every single round, and like we've seen on these maps, it's pretty hard to even go a round without a mistake. It's so tough. But again, 42 and Iridium put themselves in this position to take it, Chickgax.
I feel like that there is the crucial marker. You needed an outright win there from Curiosity to put them in contest for that second position, simply because they are afforded a free round here, because they can afford to give away 1 to either Iridium or 42, and there's still a position available. That means that they can take an extra 90 points in here across 2 rounds, not just 1. And the chance is there for a finalist position for Curiosity. The unfortunate thing is they are still going to have to make multiple rounds back to back.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. If Curiosity makes a mistake, where is Scorpid going to be? You're going to have to hope Scorpid doesn't make a mistake if they have to run. And you also got to hope, which we've seen at the start of this matchup, Iridium was absolutely dominant on this map. So I'm expecting them to highly take their chances here and move on with the finalists in the round 1 on this map. I can see that happening.
Best thing here for either Scorpid or Curiosity is that nobody picked this map. It isn't a preference of anybody. 42 already making an error. Curiosity, we did see a great run from Curiosity on this map earlier. Scorpid, I don't have my expectations set well enough for Scorpid because it's so clear that these runs have been marred by one thing or another over and over again. I don't know what a true run from Scorpid looks like this season.
We've also seen when they do have their run, they've been about a 10th away from the average pace at the moment that these players are running in this tournament. Like, we got to say it again, they're running consistently top world record times. It's near impossible to keep that pace consistently when you're trying to chase someone down. But Iridium has come in with the lead.
Curiosity.
Big mistake. Iridium has the chance to move on with the finalists here. They just got to make it no mistakes, and that's it.
Oh, brilliant finish from Iridium. A DNF from 42. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need the points, that's for sure. The Scorpid making the points over Curiosity is not ideal for the chances of a second finalist here, though. You really needed to see the leader of those two trailing the pack get that bigger advantage in toward 42 here. It is going to need to be 10 points out from here on out. The win from either Scorpid or Curiosity if there is to be anybody but 42 to take this.
And 42 is absolutely on a heater as well. Took a very risky line into that plastic section, but they have been compromised. Scorpid. And Scorpid and Curiosity have both lost a bit of pace, and that gives 42 about 3 temps going into the NASCAR corner. This is not where you want to be.
Runs through it, runs high up to the high edge, nobody making the error. Scorpid actually picks up a bit of pace there.
They're both chasing down.
Might have actually picked up a speed drift for a moment there, I think.
Less than a 10th going into this back section. Whoa! 42 had the mistake. There it is. The pressure gets to him. Curiosity just has to make it clean, and they do. They shut down 42 for another round. But he had it in the bag. He had it in the bag.
6 points. Crucial if Scorpid wants to make this viable for himself as well. But 96 and 91, a win out from either Curiosity and Scorpid would not only hold 42 off, it would equalize them and put them in a position where this is winnable.
Curiosity has had a major mistake, though, from the start. Clipped the inside of the first corner. But Scorpid did take that risky right line into that plastic drop down and did get that speed off it. 42 now needs to chase down Scorpo. But we've seen before, Scorpid can have the pace when it's needed. And 42
42's touched.
He has.
Scorpid just has to hold this. He's got a decent lead. Does he know it is the question. How much is he willing to save?
43 touched again. He touched again and again.
Oh my goodness, 42's gone. Scorpid, surely without an absolute wipeout, will hold him off here. He'll get the 10 points. Curiosity might... How much does Curiosity get out of this? 4?
3, I think. I think it's only 3. Is it 4, though? Actually, it might be 4 because Iridium is out. We've got to see.
It's 4.
It is 4.
It's
triple finalist. Oh, no. Oh, no.
42 could be held off here. We could have Curiosity after all, and Scorpid, at the end of the day, somehow has conquered everything. He's conquered his own fears here. Can he conquer the lobby?
Triple finalist going into this map here on Relevations. 42 had about 4 opportunities to take the win and move up into the grand final. But Scorpid and Curiosity have fought their way through here vigilantly. And now it's all going to come down as 42 makes the initial mistake. It's got to be down to Curiosity. And Scorpid, there's a DNF Gex.
Oh my
Scorpid's
goodness.
got a chance.
42's gone. 42.
42's gone.
This in the bag. is absolutely out. He's exited the lobby entirely. Scorpid's got net issues. No, not now. He's back in front. He snapped back. Curiosity will be watching from his perspective from here on out, but this has got to be an overtake now, or Scorpid will take it in the most unlikely of scenarios. Curiosity is the inside line. Curiosity the speed. It's on the line. My goodness, less than 0.1. And my God, a 10th, less than a 10th separates it. But Scorpid takes second position from the back of the pack.
Scorpid was in fourth by, I think, 34 points going into that with 42 on finalist. But what a snipe. Curiosity did do the send line, took the alternate line on the inside to try take it away, but Scorpid shows and makes an effort and comes back with the net issues and takes second place into the grand final.
On the one round of that entire fight, that whole bracket that we saw Scorpid have the net issues, he comes up on top. He conquers the fears and he's going into the grand final. And my goodness, poor 42. Poor 42. He goes from second to last in a single round, in a single mistake. He did have the consistency issues, but he had gotten on top of them. I thought that this was the one for him.
No, they both 42 and Iridium made the break. They made the space they needed to do in the matchup, especially in the cup round. They both got on the finalists at the exact same time. They had the opportunity. Iridium beat 42 in that round, and I think 42's mental after that just went. It just got to him, and then the mistakes happened. And I said that one round, they made 3 mistakes in one round, and I think that was it. That was the final straw for 42.
Yeah. Well, you asked how we could heat up after the last round. You asked how it could get better. How does everybody finalizing sound to you? Iridium went out early, but that triple finalist position for second spot, what a race for it. Scorpid, give it up. But also give your absolute best to Curiosity M42 there. What a season from them. The ITC does not disappoint. Number 8, coming back in a very short amount of time with your grand final after an unbelievable effort to get in there from the lower bracket. Welcome back for the final time for the Indian Trackmania Cup. Number 8, it has been quite a run to get here. I got to say, we have upped everything this year. It is not just the prize pool. It is the players' skill level. It is the competition as a whole. It is the setup behind the scenes. Limits, I think even our castings had a level up this year. Nothing has gone exactly as I planned it, and I love that.
I know, we have been bottling a couple names, but you get that sometimes. You get that.
Sometimes I'll admit I'm having a bit of fun with it. But, you know, is what it is.
But I'm pretty excited for this matchup. It is the grand final. We do have Iridium, Spark, and then Divi, and I'm pretty sure 42 did get knocked out, which is very upsetting. I thought 42 would be here, to be honest with you.
In saying that, you would be. It was crazy to see that we had such massive runs from Curiosity, and then he had that. I can't believe that he even was in a position where he risked going out after coming from the top bracket, dropping second place there by a pixel, literally, and does not make it here. It's an unbelievable story to even see. I think Scorpid make it here as well, who's been facing issue after issue, but unlikely and in the face of adversary. That is the story of ITC, and it's coming out strong this year.
Yeah, and you got to give a shout out to Scorpid overcoming those tech issues to even make it into a lower bracket final, then to make it into a grand final, to even have the opportunity to take down the likes of Spark, which we've seen, Gex. He's taken down the last 3 ITCs. Is this the year that someone finally beats this man? Like, the Spark's dominance, yeah, it's fun, but can someone beat him, please? Like, I've got my money on Divi. Divi upset is gonna happen. Divi is gonna cook, and I've got my money on Divi.
That is the question. Is this the year that Spark gets taken down? The answer has so far been a resounding no. Spark has been unbelievable. There's no It's so hard to question this. He has never, in my history with this tournament, had this level of domination over the tournament. I mean, he has faced down almost everybody in this bracket. I think over the length of this tournament has faced down everybody in this bracket now in the grand final and had absolutely no issue dealing with this. I just hope that changes. I am on the side of you. And that's why I'm saying Spark is going to win this, because we have the power here, Limits. It was your idea, and I'm backing you up on it. Let's cast to curse him out of the tournament. No more Spark.
It's throwing me underneath the bus then. All right. I will say it.
You heard it here
I don't
first.
hate Spark. I just want to cast to curse him. I said it before. I was saying it before. I want Divi to win. I want a Divi upset. The Divi is going to cook. For Divi to be in this position, to be in a grand final, is absolutely amazing. I am pretty sure they didn't play ITC last year. So them to be in a grand final on their first year back is insane. I would love a Divi cookness. But I was saying, if we have a thing here that we do cast to curse a lot of people in ITC. It has happened multiple times. And I was saying, if I say Spark's name enough, maybe it will work and he has a couple crashes and it gives another person an opportunity to take the grand final win. But like we've seen before, Spark is an absolutely menace to be working with, and it's tough to beat him in any circumstance.
Yeah, I think this might be the first time I've ever heard somebody say, "I don't hate him, I just want to curse him." I get the sentiment. This is more of a blessing on everybody else here, really. Spark has been dominant, and he has been dominant this season again here, the ITC number 8. He is the front runner for this, and the underdogs really, they're going to have to bite at his heels pretty hard here, and we are trying to send our best wishes to everybody who's chasing that mark that Spark has set on this one. But I believe we are still actually waiting on Scorpid again here as well. We did see some net issues coming back for Scorpid in literally his qualifying run through that last round of the lower finals. So you'd really hope that he does have that sorted.
And hopefully the weight that we're having at the moment was just a net reset that Scorpion did, just to make sure there is no hopefully internet latency that is happening during this round, because it is the grand final. You want to be at your best performance. You want to be able to play at your best performance as well. You don't want to have a round where you DC and you lose. You get 0 points and you absolutely are now behind by at least 10 to 15. Like we've seen it before where people have crashed and they haven't got a singular point, and that's cost them easily that round, that matchup against everyone in the lobby. But again, Gex, we've said it before, the consistency lately has been the talking point, and can these four stay consistent throughout this matchup?
Consistency has been the point, not just for these four players, but for the region as a whole. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things that has come up. But this is grand final. If you don't put everything on the line now, you will not be able to pull it back and give us that a second time later. This is do or die now. You have to have your best runs on display continuously here. And when it comes to pushing your best runs, consistency gets put on the chopping block for all but the absolute best players. So that's what we're going to see here today, and certainly Spark with the shout there for it. But I think Scorpid, if he can sort those internet issues, and he is back in game now and testing, looking quite good here. Divyant has had some shocks for us as well. I would love to see a big turnout from Divyant, and Iridium, another big step up here as well. He was runner-up last time, and he is pushing for it again. I think it is a possibility here. As much as we're talking about Spark, the chance is there, and it would be an upset, but we've had enough of those to prove that upsets are not out of the question.
Yeah, you can't leave an upset out of the question. We've seen it in multiple rounds where Divi wasn't even supposed to be in this grand final. Curiosity had the pixel touch that gave Divi the opportunity to make it into the grand final on the last finalist point, and that's why they're in this position that they are now. But we've seen it before. Mistakes do happen even in the highest and the best players in this region. And like we've seen it before, one map can really upset their entire flow. And once that flow is cracked, you don't know what can happen. It's anyone's game then.
Well, let's hope. My biggest hope for this one is just that the net holds out for Scorpion. Really,
Yes.
that honestly, that is the biggest shout out I can give here. All of my prayers are Scorpion's internet right now, that we get the best possible grand final we can get, and we are starting it now with our pick phase. We're going quick here as well. Aerials picked out by Spark,
Wow.
Voltrix by Divyansh, Iridium picks Flojo, Scorpion picks Whitehorn, and Revelations is the random once again. Nobody wants that Revelations, Matt, but here we go. That is a quick pick. Everybody wants to get into this. They already knew what they were picking going into this.
Yeah, Spark went with a different one again. They've picked 3 different maps now back to back.
Mind.
Yeah, he's happy
like,
with whatever.
That one.
But also Scorpion picking their map again. Typical Scorpion activities. You love to see it. But can they use their personal map that they built to their... Can they use that opportunity that they're given? Last time they didn't really, and that's when 42 got a bit of a break for them. But luckily they did bring it back into later maps. But you got to use every opportunity that you get given, and we've seen it before. Some people don't really do it.
Yeah, well, we are heading in. This is the beginning of the end. The grand final starts now, and it is Spark leading it in, really. Iridium top bracket as well. Divyansh had to really fight for that position, and Scorpid, through the most unlikely of scenarios, seems to have made this as well. And now it all begins as we take our warm-up lap.
And this warm-up lap, all you want to do is just try get comfortable with your lines. Try find the limits in certain spots. They did have like a little bit of an extra warm-up. As you see, Scorpid goes off. He's trying to find how far out wide he can go with those flags. But the top 3 are looking very solid here, Gex. And I'm maybe expected a world record to be broken here in this grand final rounds. They are going to be pushing to their absolute limits.
I'd love to know if one already had been today. It wouldn't shock me at all. 42 had a flyer of a run on one of the tracks earlier. I think it was on Flojo, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, we are going to be going straight into Spark's pick first up. I mean, look, Spark's already got the record on just about every track. If he's not there, he's in the top 3. It's going to be tough for Spark to improve on those times in competition.
Yeah.
If anybody is going to get a world record time, it would be pushing themselves to beat Spark.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's the one you really got to beat. He's the trifecta winner of ITC. He is the previous champion. He is the top dog in these tournaments. But as you see, he's had a little bit of a mistake, and Iridium is absolutely flying here. But Spark got a pretty of a low jump, but he did get that bounce up, which cost him a little bit of time there.
And Spark's still fighting. He will get that second bot. Scorpion's fallen well back. Early errors counting him pretty well out of this one. Low transition point. Oh, Sparks missed it completely. Divyansh and Iridium make it through. I think that's the first time we've actually spectated somebody go too low and miss the point. Spark is out of round 1.
And Iridium takes the lead into the first round. And Divi, second place there, did have a bit of a mistake going into the uphill with the reset block, but did get the 4th gear and had enough pace to make the risky finish. But big major Spark there, like you said. I'm pretty sure that is the only person we've seen go too low, but that's the risk you got to take in these high-end lobbies. This is a grand final, Gex. You got to take those low risks. If you go a bit high, you're losing temps, and it's just, you can't have that at the moment.
And I do expect to have high positions in the world standings for each run here if you're really pushing in a grand final scenario. We've seen this be around the 7th mark, and that is what that run was again there. But it is first run of the grand finals. It is only going to heat up from here as they get the warmth back in their tyres again. We have had that small break between rounds, and remembering that 2 of these players have been waiting for the matchup from the upper bracket for some time now. So we will see these times continue to improve.
Yeah, Spark and Divi, I think, had about a 45 to an hour break between their matches because we did have that other lower bracket semi, but Spark, even with that first mistake in round 1, has absolutely fired back to get a win here. But Iridium staying consistent with second place. I don't want to see him run away with it, but they are looking very strong here, Gex, Iridium and Spark.
Yeah, it's so hard to push above where they're placing now in the world standings as well. That 50.7 seems to be the mark where the consistency starts to drop off if you push it any harder. That's where they're sitting, and to break any higher than that, you have to actually chop off a really decent amount of time. You have to go down to a 0.4 from that 0.7. So this might not be the track to chase those high times on. If you can make this consistency work, though, Iridium certainly trying to do that now out ahead. Then you will be able to take a decent lead here, and he has. And did he actually get that? He has.
He got it.
That's a checkpoint.
That is about as low as you can get that. I don't even know if the wheel was touching, to be honest. I think that was just the hitbox. But Spark has a bit of pace going into this last section, but Iridium too quick at the end with that low, and it's a 50.462. And that is a fifth fastest time in the world. So this is what we were saying. It's usually, like you said before, it's usually around that 7 to 8 world record pace. But now they're starting to push into the top 5 worlds, which is usually another 2 temps above. And once again, the consistency you can't really be very, very consistent when you're running world record pace times. It's very hard to do.
This is the map that we saw that last second error, that pixel tap there from Curiosity earlier, and now we get the pixel perfect checkpoint as well in that last run through. That was crazy stuff from Iridium there, who's currently trailing the pack at the moment, along with Divyansh, who isn't the best run yet.
Yeah, Iridium had a bit of a mistake there. He took a war. He went up into the water, Gex, but Scorpion had a very, very good low run and actually has a chance to chase down Spark. He ends up going a bit wide, which is going to capitalize his run, but he does it well, and Spark takes another victory here with a 50.7. A bit of a conservative run for them, but still, the gap is starting to grow for Spark, and this is what he needs to do to take down that 4th title in the ITC. It is 29-29.
Yeah. And 17-17. So we've got dominant first and second positions on the field. Unfortunately, those are filled by 4 players. So we will be seeing that separate as the grand final goes on here. But Spark being contested right now even is rare. So he's not being allowed to pull away. Iridium has had some crazy fast runs. Divyansh has his opportunities here, but I feel like going into Voltrix here, this is going to be a better chance for Divyansh to really show up. And Scorpid's still showing the errors that I really think would count him out of the top 3 in this one. But Scorpid had a miraculous run just to get here. I'm sure he's going to be happy to be in that top 4.
Yeah, they even get a top 4 in ITC as well. It's just a pat on the back in itself. Like, that's a
31
congratulations
players
right there. 31 players, top 4 in the region, coming against some of the best, some in the really aspect of the world. I know they could possibly do 100 top 100 world times easily, but Spark and Iridium have made that bit of a breakthrough, and they're ahead by that 10-point buffer that we always talk about, which is just a full round victory that you extra need when you get to the finalist points. But I'm pretty sure in the grand final, it does go to 120 points, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's 140 now. So there is a bit more time to be played with.
I mean, that wasn't really the issue for Spark last time. That's just a few more free rounds for him at the end. But this time around, it's looking a little different. Iridium definitely putting in the contest right now. Spark, again, back in the pack right now in 3rd out of the opening corners here for Voltrix. And Voltrix has had its issues for the faster time setters, willing to push those limits a little bit more. There's more mistakes to be found out of this one.
Yeah, it has a lot of tight sections as well, and a couple chances where you can lose some gears and lose a lot of pace. And I think Iridium just dropped that gear, so he has dropped down from Divi, and he's being caught by Spark and Scopin. But Divinash coming out with a victory here, 10 points off back. Divi is cooking. I did say I want an upset from Divi, and this is what we need. This is what we need from him.
Divyansh capitalized the A here, and coming up again, separating himself from Scorpid at the bottom there, and catching the pack again here. Iridium going to actually get a little bit of room on Spark here as well, moving out into another map, and yet Spark still not with any lead at all, let alone a dominant one.
Beautiful nose slide, but yeah, not much of a lead being given, which is out of the ordinary from Spark, which we even seen in the seeding. Spark ended up pulling a 200-point lead, and in his upper bracket as well, I'm pretty sure there was a 30-point lead as well, as he's taken a risky line through there, and it's paid off in his forte, and he's getting into this dirt section 2/10 in front of Iridium.
And with way more speed, you are going to cut your speed down on dirt. There's no ifs or buts about that. If you can come in with that little extra speed there, you don't even risk dropping that gear. Spark going to be comfortable with this one. 45.804 on Voltrix. That is a very, very quick run.
That's a top 6 world time again. The pace is showing, but Spark is now got the lead, and this is where they can use their pace to try and run away from the field. But again, Iridium is very, very consistent compared to previous matchups we've had in the lower bracket. And Iridium's came from, I think, the lower bracket from quarterfinals, so not even from the semis. So they've been in the lower bracket from a long, long time. So the warm-up into this matchup could be working in their favor.
Iridium out ahead again, taking really nice lines here. A little bit more speed on Spark right now, but can he hold it? It's looking good. He's going to make the pass here. It's into the dirt section, though, and he will drop a little speed early. Can he pick it up in the back end here? It's not looking likely. Oh, he's done it. My goodness, he comes down. He just rocks over those high points, but Iridium takes it back, and Deviant takes second.
What a round. Great round. And Iridium took a very alternate line into that grass section and just flew past everyone into the jump as well. Beautiful round. Great times as well. I think it was a 40, 46, 45 something. I'm pretty sure it was a great run again.
Really weird to see Spark drop that speed at the end there. He dominated through the dirt. The end of the dirt there in particular rode up on the sides a little bit and caught a bit more speed coming down from them. But I think he wasn't expecting that speed coming out, went wide on the corner, and that was all it took. I mean, they were all on top of each other there, and that tiny wide run sacrificed all the speed he'd gained and got him back into third.
Divi had a bit of a mistake at the start, but it's got to be Iridium and Spark now. Do you want to be fighting head and head in this dirt, which we've seen Iridium somehow gain a lot of pace into this back section. They are going full speed. That is why they're not doing the inside drift, and that is giving them momentum. Again, a close finish. 0.4.
Every time we've seen Spark and Iridium on this particular track, I think it's been less than 0.05 on any decent run from them between it. And they, again, are dead even 57-57 on the leaderboard as we change maps for the second time with first place dead even between two players.
Yeah, and Scorpid didn't really have the best map there. Fell off the pace of Divi as well. Is now 10 points behind Divi on 30. But again, Iridium and Spark are side by side this whole tournament. It's got to be... Is this the year Iridium takes it from Spark? They were runner-up last year. Can they really use that as momentum to try and push Spark and force some errors out in this grand final?
I remember last year Spark did take the grand final with some level of comfortability. I think there were still several rounds to go when Spark already had finished his finalist run.
Victory.
And this time around, we're already passing halfway to the 100. It is going to be a good thing that there is the extra 40 points in this, because we might need it to really decide any kind of dominance for a winner.
Yeah, it's going to be close. If it was 100 points here, it's all going to come down to the next two maps then. If it was only 100 points, it'll be this map and the next map. But knowing this, if we could possibly do, I think we're going to reach at least 6 to 7 here. Six to 7 rounds of maps, which is what you want to see, but the points are it's too close to even tell.
With Spark and Iridium holding each other back from the 10s consistently, you're going to make this the longer end of that estimate, but it has to be done. I don't think anybody is going to consistently keep Spark from wins. You just have to make sure that it happens enough to take it for yourself. And that is going to be very tough with Spark making runs like this. Scorpid on the trail, though. Love to see Scorpid up in the pack right now, trailing in points by some margin, but now a great run through the plastic. Might have dropped a little bit too low dips up high again and loses some speed on the plastic. Too much angle on it.
We've seen Iridium catch up, though, on this ice section. Spark decides to go to the wide line. He's going to cut in. He has to cut in. Iridium's had a slide out. But saves it well, though, just to get over the finish line and get the third place.
I mean, he might have saved the line, but not the position. Scorpid takes that from him as well. Scorpid getting a second there will be major for him, though. Coming second to Spark is no shameful matter at any point in this tournament. Certainly not now when you need the points the most.
Yeah, especially coming into the Flojo, which we've talked about, is a very tactical track. One mistake can set you back over a second because it is very tight and it's hard to keep your pace. It's a very momentum track, in my opinion, going into that dirt section. But this speed check here is still dangerous. They try to go as low as they can just so they have the most minimum air time so they can get their wheels back on the ground to keep their pace going. But they have a little drift underneath this roof, which is also very dangerous because if you go on too far on that right side, you can clip your back wheel, which will give you a slowdown. But we've always seen before where Spark has just caught up in that plastic section. If you do send it on the inside, you can gain a lot, but it's going to be neck and neck going into the ice section. Spark does have the advantage. He's going to go a bit wide again, but as Iridium's going to be picking up the speed again. Oh, he had a bit of a slide out. Bit of a slide out. He gets third. Divvy sniped him.
Oh my goodness, Divion just sniped the second spot again. Spark on this map is so dangerous. And Flojo is offering some challenges here.
A 49.4, by the way. Did we just see that? Is that
no, that was a 49.95.
Oh, it's gonna 49.
Just below 42's position there. Which means somewhere around that 7th again in world. Still, like, we are yet to see around where we're not in the top 10 since we started the grand final.
But these mistakes from Iridium here has really given Spark the opportunity to run away with it, Gex. Like, Iridium's had 2 mistakes on the ice that has given Divvy and Scorpid a chance to take second place. And that's 6-point deficit. Oh, and there's another mistake from Iridium. That's a full reset.
He's too fast. He can't dip inside the pole there. The marker on the corner for the checkpoint. That is a brutal way to wipe yourself out of that. Scorpid can take a second again here. Scorpid really starting to catch some points here as well, which is great for him.
Scorpid's really heating up now. We've seen it happen before. He starts off a bit slow early on into the rounds, but really kicks it on into the later maps. But Iridium, odds Flojo seems to be Iridium's kryptonite. Just can't get it going. It's not working for Iridium here. That ice was the get-go 2 rounds in a row, then he couldn't get the jump down. Like, these mistakes he can't be doing.
This is what I was expecting, though. I mean, we're seeing those 7th in world times coming out consistently over and over again, and now the question is, to beat Spark, you have to make a better time than that. You have to push for the best in world times to just get ahead of Spark consistently. So you're going to see errors start to be made. And I think that's what it's really coming down to for Iridium here. He's only making these errors because Spark is pushing him into a position where he has to make risky runs. He does not have the option.
Yeah, it's an absolute... Spark's just pulling on a clinic right now as well, doing consistently world record pace times. And this one is an absolute flyer as well. That's a 49.6. That is quick. But once again, Iridium with these mistakes on Flojo. I think that's 4 rounds in a row on Flojo where Iridium has made mistakes. And that's the second time where they've got 4th back-to-back. And that's going to give Spark nearly it is a 20-point lead. Oh, it's really opened up the door.
And it's 97 points as well. If we were in a normal battle scenario for him here, he'd be in finalist by the end of this round, most likely. Fortunately, that extra 40 points gives some leeway to Iridium, but I don't see him climbing that back. And that brings up the next point I was going to talk about anyway, which is, at what point do you go, okay, I can start safing rounds here because I'm not getting first. I can make sure I get second, though. And Iridium might be starting to think about that here. That 20-point gap, while the 40 is still there, you might still risk this, but quite soon you're going to have to make that choice.
I think you make that choice when Spark gets anywhere near 120. When Spark gets up to, I say...
choice when Divianj gets close to you.
Yeah, when Divvy's on your back door.
Close to Iridium, yeah.
Because I think Iridium still has a chance against Spark here. I don't think Flojo was Iridium's map. We've seen Iridium be consistent on multiple maps, just Flojo wasn't it. But we've also seen Spark make mistakes. But in a grand final, I think Spark just turned into a different breed and just turned into tournament mode. And that's when they just don't make massive mistakes.
I don't want to be that guy, but Flojo wasn't Iridium's map, which brings up the question, why did he pick it? That was Flojo's pick there. To be fair, he did pick last, so it was between that and Revelations. I suppose Flojo was the preference to Revelations exclusively.
That is
but
true.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful start here from Iridium, though. He's got about a 10th ahead of Scorpid going up into this grass section where there is a good possibility to lose that 4th gear, but I don't think any of these 4 will be doing that at all throughout these rounds. But Iridium is absolutely on a heater. This one might be close to world record here, Gex. This one is flying.
He needs it. Iridium, if he's going to catch up to that massive point lead now from Spark, who is in the back of the pack. This is the ultimate scenario. Spark is just about out of this now without a massive error from someone. Nobody makes it. Iridium just has to win this out, and it is a huge climb back here.
That's a beautiful chase down from Scorpion as well. It is Scorpion's map that he did build, but he did chase him down a bit on that dirt, but Iridium was looking so solid out the start there. This is what they need, though. Spark had a big mistake. That was the most minimum point Spark could get, and that gives Iridium a chance to chase him back down. But Spark has hit that century point now, Dexter, at the 100 mark. It's the home stretch. It's only about time.
Again, that was 8th world run out of that last one. Iridium really just setting that pace again here. But Spark, they snipe through.
Oh, he lost a gear.
Yeah, I think he actually made a contact on that barrier right where you pick up the booster and just lost all benefit from that. That is, again, his race done here. And Iridium will have pretty much caught him.
Scorpion just had a bit of a speed slide into that corner. I say Scorpion's name.
Yeah,
he
don't talk about him. That's just mean.
And Iridium takes another victory.
Look, we talked about maybe giving $10 to the biggest wipeout here.
Yeah.
That goes into the competition for it, for sure. Scorpion gets mentioned, squeals like a little girl, and plows into a wall. That is brutal. He got nervous, camera shy, buddy.
I think Spark again got minimum points in that round, only going to 104 now. Iridium has brought it back from a 20-point deficit down to nearly 10.
I just realized that's the exact crash out, the exact one that happened when I made a call out on somebody yesterday as well. I think it might have been Prane I mentioned.
Not the Prane.
And just turned right into the barrier, that exact same barrier. It's same time frame too. Said it happened instantly. So I guess we just can't talk about anybody at that point in the track.
It's just a cast curse, I guess. But Spark has a bit of pace catching up to Iridium here in the front. They do make it look clean. I shouldn't have said it. That's an unlucky mistake, and Sparky's got to take a well-needed victory.
Oh, he's gone to the back. Iridium needed at least a second there, and has sacrificed it entirely, which means he will not make the catch-up on Spark. Probably this map. I don't think it's doable, this map, actually. That is crazy. That Iridium just on Spark. So close there. And it's all gone in the flash of an eye.
Just slid out the littlest bit 2-bit out of that top berm. Like the higher you ride that berm, the more speed you will have coming out of it. So they risk it for the biscuit, but sometimes it's just better to stay on the inside. And as I say, inside, Scorpion clips the inside of a checkpoint back there on that hill, and it's going to be up to Iridium and Spark again. But Divi is right up with them. But these two on this map have been absolutely on fire.
Yeah. Spark has made some errors. It's allowed Iridium in. Spark has actually come last twice here. Iridium has come last once. It seems like one or the other will, and it might be Spark this time. Iridium sneaks past on the upper touch from Spark there. Not quite all the way to fourth, but a third place will give Iridium more chance back into this again. And like we were talking about, when do you start talking about just looking at that second place? It's out the window now. You're looking at first again. This is more than close enough. You can make that 140 points, and you're almost within that 10.
Like I said, the point was if Spark gets to around 120 and you're still, I'd say, 25 to 30 behind, that's when you focus on second. But Iridium's only 14 points behind Spark at this point in time. And like we said, it gets to 140. We still have a long way to go. That's over 30 points. That's 3 victories back to back, which we know Spark and Iridium both can do. It's just up to Scorpion and Divi, which they've actually been going pretty decent against these top 2 players.
I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to say it like it is. I don't think Spark has been beaten has been kept from a winning position on a track for more than 2 rounds straight. Iridium still at this point would, if this was already finalist position, would need 2 back-to-back here, and then that third to take the finalist position as well. So I don't know that it's still in likelihood here, but you would be competing for it because that 40 extra points is in play here. Spark, though, again, even in this warm-up, just setting pace that Iridium is matching. It is between these two.
Yeah, side by side through the warm-up the whole way through that track. So it just proves that they have pace here. And once again, we've seen it before. Iridium was really quick here on Revelations in that lower bracket final to get themselves into this position. But as we seen in that warm-up just then, Spark can match that pace of Iridium. It's just who can keep it consistent throughout this entire map pack, because there is a high possibility that one of these can make it onto match point. Was that Iridium that went out there, Gex?
Yep, he smashed the post on the inside and then hit the outer wall. He's also gone around the checkpoint now. He is completely out of this. Deviant can chase from behind, but this is between Spark and Scorpid now. Hey, I think I've been given so much PTSD by this tournament that we go onto this map. I watched a purple car in Spark roll forward into that pit, and my mind just went, Nani da ski? No, oh my goodness, I'm so glad Code's not here.
Code is the people's champion from yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. The people's champion.
Tormenting me from beyond the grave. It's happening. Crazy.
But Spark,
comfortable for Spark.
Assistant that we need, pulled out 6 temps on Divi. Scorpion did have a mistake in that plastic uphill section. It does get tied up the top, and you can flip the wheel. But that is what Iridium did not need. That is the polar opposite of what Iridium needed to do here. First round in the new map here, that wasn't really their preference. This was the random one picked by the game.
Scorpion in again. You know what I've just guaranteed that next ITC, everybody will come in with horrific horns and torment us.
Yeah.
It's really what I've done here, yeah. Deviant out ahead here. This is a great early run from Deviant. It's a quick catch-up from Iridium. Spark has fallen to the back of the pack, but I mean, that pack is so narrow. Oh, Scorpion's just gone to the top and ridden the wall in the bobsled there. I don't think I've seen that happen at all. That's the pressure they're under right now. Deviant losing that position with a big error there, and it's between Iridium and Spark again. Iridium out in front.
Spark is risking very hard though, and he had to do a little bit of a let go into that second last quarter, but it's not going to happen. Iridium, 55.1. That is a very, very solid time, and less than a 10th between them, even though Spark had a pretty of a below average enter into that left-hand plastic corner.
Yeah, crazy run there actually on Revelations. Really, really big. That 55.1 would be 6th, I think, there. And
that's 6th or 7th,
yeah? I think it was above that Scorpion time there. Well, it was a 1.5, so yeah, 6th it would have come in there as so huge run there, but expected from Iridium. He did have the world record on that track, with Spark coming in second by some margin though. It's decent to say. Most of these tracks, the top time is followed by a couple of hundredths at the absolute worst. This one, he actually had some dominance on Iridium, out by 0.12, as the world record is a massive margin.
That's pretty much a tenth. That's a ridiculous world record margin, but Iridium is on an absolute heater. I can't even explain the pace he's on right now. Spark, no one's made really any mistakes behind him. He's just
going for another world record.
This is absolute fire.
Goodness.
That's a 55.2 as well. Insane pace for Iridium.
55.2 is incredibly fast. Again, especially on a track where there are so many opportunities to make those errors. Yeah, there it is, though. Spark as finalist now. He would have to be held for quite some time to prevent him from going out in first here. There is the chance that he gets held off until Iridium goes finalist. Are you going to keep him from top 2? I don't think there's a chance here that Spark would be kept from top 2, but possibility here for a new champion. It still just has to be a huge push. Spark has to be getting more comfortable, though, and that is scary. Iridium out in front right now, but this might be our last run on this map, and it's the one map that Iridium has a huge advantage on.
And Spark has got a beautiful run at the moment, though. He might be able to close out the tournament in this round, Gex. They're headed into this plastic section. He's hit it absolute perfect. Scorpion is the closest person. Iridium had the mistake. It's all up to Spark. And Spark's got the line. Does he keep it clean? He does. Spark has won it for 4 years in a row. He is a 4-time champion of ITC in a row. How?
He's done it.
How?
The first place goes out again. And once more, I will say, I think this was a more dominant season than I've ever seen from him across the length of it. We saw a very dominant grand final last time, I will say that. But across the length of this tournament, he was so massive. Spark has deserved this. As much as we were calling out for a new victor here, Spark has absolutely, beyond a doubt, earned this victory. And Iridium in second place is looking pretty unconquerable right now. So it is going to come down to that battle between Divyansh and Scorpid.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Spark has been the most consistent throughout the entire tournament. From the seed and get-go, he proved that he's going to be the one to beat again with the 200-point lead in the seeding bracket is absolutely ridiculous. Winning all their matchups, not going down to the lower bracket at all. And then Iridium have to fight their way through. Maybe it was very close. Iridium was still in arm's reach. Just needed to beat Spark one more time just to hold him out. But Spark too good at the end of the day. 4-time champion. Congratulations, GGs. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely well earned. But we are not done with the grand final yet. Our first place goes out to Spark. Second is likely for Iridium, but not set in stone yet. He's 10 points away. One win gets him to finalist, and nobody is within 40 points of him at that point. That is going to be so tough to hold here. Really going to have to push everything they can.
The top 2 really solidified their places, though. They ran away with it. It was Iridium versus Spark, assisted top 6 world record times on every map they were competing with on this matchup. But Iridium seems to be running away with it a little bit here, but has a massive mistake. Was that a landing bug a little bit that slowed him down? He can't really get the halfpipe clean as well. It's going to be Scorpion versus Divi going into the last section.
Divyansh leading, Scorpid in second. Scorpid is really on the tail here, hoping for an error.
Whoa.
No pixel skim there for the slowdown, and Scorpid will not be able to take it from Divyansh. As a huge run there through at the beginning of this will keep Iridium from finalist position at the very least. Divyansh trying to push himself out ahead right now.
Iridium needed a win there just so they can get a finalist off the bat, but as you see, Divi is now in the 100-point mark themselves, so it is in range for them to reach it and force Iridium into a double finalist with each other. But as you see, Scorpion is risking it on the halfpipe, but Iridium's got a beautiful landing out of it, though. It has pulled 4 tenths away. This might be the chance to get on finalist here.
And even a great low transition from Scorpid there, but he hasn't been able to pull it through the plastic without losing a bit of speed, and continues to lose that from the back here. I think this is a race between Iridium and Divyansh. Everybody taking that low transition line again. Straight back onto that red plastic. The transition across that gap can be a speed check as well, but Iridium and Divyansh making it with no problems here. Iridium has sent it into the corner again here, and I believe that means he will be exactly on the 140, but that is finalist regardless. So Divyansh has not held him from that. It would have taken Scorpid as well.
Yeah, lucky Scorpid had a bigger crash than our 40 did and was 9 seconds behind, but Iridium is on finalist now and can solidify that runner-up spot again, back-to-back years. 1 and 2 Spark and Iridium if they can pull it away here, Gex. But as we've seen, Divi does have pace here and he's ready to throw down against, but I think that is a mistake about Divi. It was. Iridium has a beautiful chance here, Gex.
Divyansh coming in late. A good transition down, though. Would need a lot of pace to catch up right now. Scorpid might be the only thing to stop Iridium taking that second. Iridium just maintaining a good pace here. I feel like he's comfortable right now, not taking too many risks. He knows that this is likely and he doesn't even need to win it right now. And just take that second as well.
Scorpid has just got a weird slowdown. I haven't seen anyone get a slowdown in that position ever, and that's got to give Iridium the perfect chance to solidify his second place in ITC 8. Back-to-back runner-up. Congratulations to Iridium. Almost had Spark this year. They did go to the final wire, but I don't know what happened to Scorpid there. The slowdown was very weird.
I feel like Iridium this year, it could have been his year, but there was one track, just one, that he hadn't put the time into like Spark had. It is beyond doubt that their skills rival each other. It comes down to which tracks they've really hammered out, and there was a clear difference on one of those tracks there for Spark to make that difference. Iridium deserved second place again.
100% deserves second place there for Iridium, but now it all comes down to who has the fight to try and get third place here. Divi does have the point advantage going into this 1v1, but Scorpid is in the lead at the moment, does go pretty low as well. It's going to be hard for Divi to catch, but being down 4 attempts into this last section.
Yeah, still something to battle for here. Third and fourth place. Neck and neck right now in the standings as Scorpid takes some to gain on Divyansh's lead. And realistically, that is very much both of them in the fight for that third position.
I'm pretty sure both of these players haven't ever placed in a top 4 in ITC either. So this is
Divyansh was new into the interests last year, so I'm so glad that we had a bit of a focus on him coming into this.
Yeah, Divi didn't play in last seasons of ITC, but did play in, I think it was 2022 or 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe Divyansh has been a player in the APAC main tournament, though, and was competing fairly well there. So Divyansh really coming in here to show what he's got. And Scorpid overcoming issues, so we keep saying it, but it's true. Scorpid night and day from what he was at the beginning of this tournament.
Yeah, it's completely turned around there. Well, internet is the main thing, at least. We can say, positive note. They haven't had any DCs in the grand final that I've noticed personally. But it is all going to come down to, can they put it against Divi, which we've seen has proved their worth and made it through to the grand final, through to upper bracket, which is an absolute pat on the back in itself to make it to the grand final through to upper bracket. You've earned your spot as the top 4 in ITC. So congratulations to all players at the moment who have competed, like everyone who competed. It's been an amazing tournament, Gax. A beautiful tournament.
Remind me again, where was the, at least roughly, where was the actual qualifying position for Scorpid?
Scorpid, I'm pretty sure seeding, it was around 18th.
Below the top 12. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was around 18th.
Outside of the top 12. So to go from outside of even making day 2 from qualifying position to suddenly in the grand final, 10th. Okay, so he was inside the top 12, but from 10th to now 3rd or 4th, is pretty crazy. Certainly in with a good shot here and is well ahead here for the first run on Voltrix.
Yeah, Divi had a very awkward entry into that grass section and got caught out and had a major collision that's dropped him back. If Corbin finishes this one pretty quick, there might be a good chance.
Whoa!
Oh, he's lucky he made the jump, though.
Yeah. I know. I almost would. I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Divyan's just 8.5 seconds behind. I don't think that there was any slowdown without completely going off track that would have removed you from competition there. That's even a full reset, I think you could have made it to the slow ending in time. A very, very poor run first off from Divyansh there. It feels like he's certainly under pressure.
But that's what Scorpion needs. They need Divi to make all these mistakes right now, because it's the only way they can have a chance to get third place. Because Divi has a decent enough lead where they can win this round, then they can lose a couple and still have another opportunities to take it. They have multiple chances to take it away here and get to finalists.
Divyansh with some amazing lines through the opening section, and Scorpion has to cut a little speed not to make a more major mistake there into the dirt section. Scorpion had maybe too much speed there, had to cut it, drop that gear like you said. Now into the grass, there's no chance of a catch here. Divyansh comfortable in there, and that will be finalist position for Divyansh.
And he's looking very solid. We did have that first little hiccup at the start of this map with that mistake, but other than that, looking too good to be true. Scorpion making that he was the highest seed in the grand final, and tried to make the run, but it's just not looking reasonable at the moment, as Divi is on finalist and is looking to shut it out here. I don't see Divi losing
in there. No, great lines through the opening section. I don't know how Scorpion has almost made that up. He's tried for a line that's impossible. Couldn't turn back in there in time. If he'd made the corner and clips it, regardless, loses everything there. Divyansh, this will be his run to victory as long as he knows it. He is on a stroll home right now, and he is very comfortable in this lead. In third position for the tournament will be Divyansh. Scorpion goes out in fourth place, and there you go. The split there for prize pool. 8,000 INR going out to Spark, 5,500 to Iridium, 3,500 to Divyansh, and 2,500 there to Scorpion as well. Well earned when you are one of the major crafters for the map pack as well, especially with such a great set of maps this year. I feel like the map creators are just one of many sets of people who deserve a huge shout out this season.
100%. The maps this season were absolutely beautiful. I feel like it was a bit difficult, these maps, compared to last year, but that made the competition a lot harder. It gave a lot more chances for these newcomers to upset some of the big names, which happened. Like we've seen 42 and Nami and Iridium get knocked down into the lower brackets early on in this tournament. And once again, like, what a tournament it has been. Like, we've seen some new players that have never played in a Trackmania tournament ever compete and somehow pull out a top 10. So congrats to everyone that competed in ITC. Also a big shout out to everyone behind the scenes for making it run so smoothly and just being just a bunch of good fellas in the community and welcoming me and Jex along that ain't really a part of the Indian side of Trackmania, but you are welcoming us in with open arms once again, and I'm forever grateful to be here.
Yeah, I want to make it clear I'm quite comfortable with the memes. Keep them coming. I don't mind. We've said wrong here if you want to take that and run with it, but I have had an excellent time getting those things wrong. We aren't done here just yet, though, because among those groups of people that we have to thank, there is one name amongst all of them, and it has to be not only the winner of our tournament, but the creator of it, really, the head of ITC right now, the admin that brought both of us on board for this. A big thank you to you as you come in for an interview. We have Spark. How you going, man?
Hello, what's up?
Oh, you answer that question, man. You were on track.
Yeah, I feel very happy. It was a super stressful match, and it's more like a relief, like, I think I saved a lot of people's pick'ems, even though it was just mud throughout the week. But yeah, it was. I'm just relieved that I got through. Yeah.
I gotta ask you a question here. Iridium was getting close, but there was one map in particular where you had it over Iridium, and that's where I feel like you got away a little bit further away from Iridium. But this year, you were dominant until really into this grand final. I feel like Iridium was a lot closer this year than expected. I would say into the later rounds.
Yeah. I think there were a lot of upsets in the upper bracket, round 1 and round 2, which made the bracket a bit weird. I don't know. But at the end, yeah, it was a super sick final. At least compared to last time, it was great. I was sweating out here. For sure. It was not easy.
I mean, there had to be a point where you knew you were pretty right for it, though. Those last few rounds, you started putting in some really massive times. You knew you could risk some stuff. Were you hoping for like some kind of record set in those last rounds?
I think Flojo was the map where I did good basically. But before that, it was we were almost equal points after the first 2 rounds. So.
You were,
and
you were dead equal out of both first and second round.
And that Flojo.
Flojo was when you made the difference.
Yes, Flojo was his pick as well. So I was a bit scared.
It was.
Like, I don't know what he'll bring out, but yeah, thankfully it went well. Like, I didn't do very good in that map in the tournament, but yeah, finals was great. So all good. But yeah.
The stress is off your shoulders, mate.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
Really, really tough map pack this year. Do you think the comparison to previous years? How do you feel about the maps this time around, as far as just difficulty level goes?
Yes, the thing is, as you already saw, that our competition has increased a lot compared to last year. So, and these maps made it possible, actually. These are very competitive maps made by all our mappers, which has like huge shout out to them. They did insane this time, and like all the map testers we had, and DB managed the whole map pack this year, which was insane. He also had the 2 maps, which I think were most people's favorite. I think Ariel's was the favorite of most people by far. So, which is like lovely. And that, the fact that the maps are hard make the comp also very interesting. Like people were crashing. There were parts where you could crash and gain back, which was I think missing from last year. But yeah, that was cool to see.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. These maps were absolutely designed with perfection and built for competitive play, and they built them that hard. Like you said, one little mistake can cost you a crash, but you can also recover off a crash, which we've seen in the rounds before. We've seen 42 dead last, a second and a half behind, and then somehow catch up because he just kept it straight. He kept it smooth to the end. Like, I got to give a big shout out to everyone who took part in helping out the maps, because these are the legends behind the scenes that really made the tournament what it is. The maps shaped the tournament, really.
Yeah, a shout out to everybody except Scorpid because of his medal times, really. That was I'm going to keep saying
that was some hard bronze medal time.
Right. When I had friends that sit quite comfortably on the Trackmania leaderboards struggling with silver, I was like, all right. I'll be given some time to bronze.
But yeah, I think like huge shout out to all the people who helped run this comp in the back end, like Iridium, Lost Soul. Like they did an amazing job, and of course to you guys, thank you so much for casting, loraii for producing. I don't think there was many things that went wrong this year, which is a huge plus, I guess, in any comp. So hopefully we'll see you next year.
As somebody who works a lot of competitions, very, very rare to have nothing. So congrats.
Yeah.
The only thing going wrong was my sanity breaking at a few moments, but Lumas, you had my back on that. So thank you for
interesting
being
horns we had.
Interesting horns. We'll leave it at that for sure.
Can we ban horns next year?
Yeah, I guaranteed we are going to be plagued with horns next year's. ITC. They already like to meme us. I have to call you out though, Spark. You told me that I was going to see GEX as one of the tricodes in there. I didn't see it. I'm disappointed. I wanted my name up in lights.
Unfortunately, he was in the lower bracket round today, Pran, and he didn't make it through. Otherwise, you would have seen that.
No, we had him. We had him day one, and he didn't.
Didn't have it on day one.
Oh, okay. We need to talk to him
so
then.
You can talk
He
to him
has
about
some
that.
answers
You
to
can
give.
Get him.
Yeah.
Admins are angry. You've given the wrong information. Disqualified from all earnings. No, I'm kidding. It was good to have Pran on screen after the amount of shout outs we had for last year, Lumens. I feel like we've got enough of them wrong to provide some content for next year as well.
I think there was a list of about 20 in the Discord at one point from day one.
Yeah.
I don't know about day two if we continue. There's probably 30 at this rate. But yeah,
Speaking Spark, we're talking about the future of the tournament. ITC number 9, are we expecting that incoming? And are there any plans that can be leaked? Or is that all hush-hush?
There aren't any plans as of now, but it will be next year for sure. Like, we have decided ITC to be one time a year event, which like works great. Everyone gets together, and it will be around this time only because this is the window that really suits us. So yeah. Hopefully, you guys will be back next year too. For all we know,
try and keep me away.
No, I'm more than happy to come back. I'm forever grateful to be welcomed into the Trackmania community, and like the Indian Trackmania community is welcome us into open arms year in year out. Like, use are the reason we actually like to come back. We want to come back. It's not like use like want us to come back. We want to come back and cast it because we enjoy it. Like, yous bring such a good tournament, such a good community together. Like, it's, in my opinion, one of the best Trackmania tournaments in the world at the moment. And that's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. APAC as a whole has been extremely welcoming to me as well. And the ITC has probably been the most fun I've had for any Trackmania casts. You guys really come out, so a big thank you to everybody who raced today. But again, Spark, to end this off, a big thank you to you for not only running this, but really giving us something amazing to cast there. Your skill on track is as unparalleled as your adminning abilities in the Discord. So we'll leave you with that one. Any shout outs before you leave?
Yeah, I mean, I just said, like, huge shout out to Iridium and Lost Soul who helped run this event. Like, they were the main people who did everything, like the competition tool, the graphics. I was just the guy who asked people around to join. But yeah, most of the work was done by them. So huge shout out to them.
100%. Right. And I agree with the Curiosities chat. Yeah. Can we stop laundering money for Spark, please?
Thoroughly agree.
My secrets are out.
The secrets are out. This is how he's getting his tax break.
Of course, you weren't the only one to do well, though. Send you off. We will give a big congratulations to our top 3 in general as we bring them back up on the screen. There you go. Again, the final standings for the Indian Trackmania Cup number 8 are Spark in first place, Iridium in second, and Divyansh in third. That is your top 3. A huge standout effort from each of these names. Iridium even on Spark for a moment there. We thought we might have that chance at the new victor, but Spark is just too much, Limits.
So yeah, Spark came out on top, just, again, too strong at the end of the day, but I got to give a big shout out to Iridium. It was looking very close until we did get to that Flojo map, which was Iridium's map pick. It just didn't go their way, but once again, forever grateful to be here. And again, Gex, alongside you, couldn't have wanted a better person to be alongside casting with. And again, thank you everyone for allowing us to be here. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. We're always willing to give our support to the Indian Trackmania community, APAC as a whole, and Trackmania as a whole as well. If you want to support us as well, give us a follow on our Twitters down below. Lumids, you've got a lot more socials than me. I'll let you rattle them if you've got them preloaded. I know it.
I stream on TikTok. That's all I need to say. I'm a TikTok streamer. I stream on TikTok Lumens. You'll see me there. I do a couple of things, but I'm not one to self-promote, man. It's just ITC is where it's at, chat. Trackmania Asia and OCE. APAC is where it's at. This community is just it. Yous are the community, and yous know how to run a Trackmania community. Like, it's such a tight-knit family that I can see it just has a bright future together, and I love it. I just love it.
Well, you might not be able to up yourself enough, but I will. It's been absolutely amazing to work with you again, Lumids. I'm sure everybody's enjoyed our banter on here. It's fun working with you on a personal level as well. Of course, it is always fun working with you guys, the players, the staff in the background. A huge shout out to loraii, as mentioned, for producing so well this year. Really, this has been a step up in production this year, mainly because I haven't been doing the spectating. So congratulations on not having me do that. But we will lead you off there, Lumids. Thank you for being my co-caster. Thank you all for coming out. This has been the Indian Trackmania Cup number 8. We'll see you for number 9 next year on the other side.